You are an immortal demon lord, forever young, but the gods have granted you reincarnation, transforming you into the holy son of mankind. Turns out, in his previous life, he'd won the lottery. But before he could enjoy his winnings, he discovered he had a terrible, terminal illness. However, there was a silver lining. After kicking the bucket, he was reborn as a bizarre skeleton. From a lowly bone monster, he evolved into the immortal lord, leading the demon race to its golden age. His real name is Isaac. People affectionately call him Isaac. His greatest desire is to become human, so he can fulfill his dream of pooping. Therefore, Isaac went to the celestial realm. He once had a deal with the gods there. If he could eliminate the forces opposing and rebelling against the celestial realm, they would help him become human. But from the very beginning, the gods had no intention of keeping their promise, because they had no way to turn Isaac into a human. They only wanted to use him. When he learned the truth, he was furious. Damn it, how long are you going to deceive me? Even my dream of eating and going to the bathroom, you can't make it come true? You all should just turn into shit. No more beating around the bush. Let's get to the main story and explore Isaac's journey to fulfill his dream of answering nature's call. Of Isaac. Under the clear blue sky, a massive hospital comes into view. He's panicking. Only one thought races through his mind. I want to live. I don't want to die. The doctor is somber. He announces that the young man's illness is a previously undiscovered type, and it will be named after him. He pauses briefly, then continues with a voice full of regret, saying he has at most 6 months to live. Clutching the medical report, he's in immense pain. The doctor's words echo in his ears. People around him start whispering and gossiping when they see his strange behavior. But he feels nothing but emptiness. He can't believe the reality. He wonders why life is so cruel. He's been working tirelessly like a moth to a flame. Just when he's achieved some success, he's about to die. Wandering aimlessly on the street, he's suddenly pulled back by someone. A panicked voice warns him to be careful, because this place is extremely dangerous. But he doesn't care about anything anymore. He just collapses to the ground, letting dark thoughts consume his mind. Seeing the lottery tickets falling at his feet, he thinks bitterly, how ironic. I just won the lottery. Kneeling on the ground, he desperately begs fate. I want to live. I don't want to die. Clutching the lottery ticket, he hopes for a miracle. But then the surroundings suddenly change. Although he begged to live, he didn't expect to exist in the form of a skeleton. Looking down at his new body, he can only curse his fate. Did I have to be reborn like this? Why? I can't even relieve myself anymore. When a three-eyed monster lunges at him, he draws his sword and roars, I'll kill you all. The sword is gradually stained with blood. But when he notices a giant approaching, he immediately goes on the defensive. The giant's powerful blow sends him flying, but he quickly counters, pouring all his strength into his glowing red sword, shouting, this damn thing ends here. Finally, the enemy falls. He coldly declares, the rebellion has been quelled. After being reborn, he became a low-level demon, then gradually evolved into the Lich King. The cry, Immortal Demon King, echoes everywhere. He continues to tell his story, from reviving the demon army, which had been nearly wiped out for centuries, to standing before those who once saw him as a sacrificial pawn. Although he might have actually gone bald, he is now the Demon King. A trembling subordinate calls out his name, but mispronounces it completely. Frustrated, he repeated his name, Isaac, not AC, as they always mispronounced. But it seemed like these people could never get his name right. Not wanting to waste his breath on a pointless conversation, he told them to take care of things themselves. When someone worriedly asked where he was going, he replied coldly, to claim my reward. He yearned to fulfill his ultimate wish, to become truly human. Looking towards the celestial realm, he declared that he had annihilated all their enemies, and according to their agreement, they were to fulfill their promise to make him human. But instead of keeping their word, they hesitated, whispering amongst themselves, saying they hadn't expected him to complete the task so quickly. In such a short amount of time, some even whispered, plotting to make him work for free for a while longer. Hearing this, he roared in anger. I can hear everything. I can see everything clearly. Then, lowering his voice, he reminded them of their promise to make him human if he eliminated all their enemies. Seeing their continued hesitation, he gritted his teeth, cursing inwardly. Just then, one of the celestial realm's leaders smiled insidiously, asking if he could do one more thing. His rage exploded. Even if I'm just a skeleton, You should at least show some decency. He bellowed, "You bastards, you've exploited me, even though you have the power to make me human, don't you?" His fury continued to rise, and now, even facing gods, he felt no fear. The leader looked panicked, seemingly realizing something was wrong. The one beside him warned, "We shouldn't have trusted him from the very beginning." The other scoffed, asking, "Why should we compromise with a madman like him?" Enraged, he roared, "All you do is talk. Except for those forbidden summoning spells, you're all completely useless. As a lich, I couldn't even live a proper life. And yet you want to exploit me even further. If you can't make me the terror of the celestial realm, then I don't need you anymore," he declared loudly. Terrified, they pleaded for more time, promising to fulfill his request if he helped them with a few more tasks. But he immediately cut them off, roaring, "To pay for your false promise, I will take your lives," he threatened. He declared menacingly, "I will turn you all into skeletons, just like me." His power suddenly surged throughout the room. He laughed maniacally, but at that moment, something unexpected happened. He was shocked to realize that his magic had suddenly disappeared. His body could no longer move. The blonde-haired man standing before him smirked, declaring, "Once I write someone's name on this paper, they become unable to move." They all shouted in unison, "Annihilate!" and revealed, "This is a high-level holy artifact, used to seal calamities like you." They looked down on him with contempt, sneering, "A lowly demon like you should be grateful to serve us. Now, you will live a lowly life like a worm." He smirked, asking defiantly, "Couldn't you have found a hairier worm, at least?" The man mocked, "Are you still clinging to your hair?" Just as the light from the paper flashed, he was stunned to realize something was wrong. He continued to mock, exposing them. "If you wanted to act, you should have at least been faster. Before I could realize it, before I was turned into a worm." He decided to commit suicide. They panicked at his reckless action, unable to believe he actually did it. However, one of them regained his composure, asserting, "The ritual is still proceeding as planned. The demon lord's soul has been sealed." When he woke up, he felt that something was different about his body. It wasn't a worm, as they had intended. He realizes he has hands, skin, flesh, the form of a newborn baby. He can't believe his eyes. Could he have been reincarnated as a human? Around him, strangers call him a saint. A nurse is overjoyed that he has awakened, while others suggest he should sleep a little longer. He's confused, wondering who these people are. Are they his nannies? Has he really become human? But his suspicion grows when he notices their mysterious expressions. One of them speaks, his tone full of hidden meaning. He says that although they don't want to, they still have to carry out their duty. Before he can understand what's happening, a suspicious bottle of milk appears before him. He softly apologizes for making him sleep again, and then the final words are spoken, "May you rest in eternal peace." He's terrified, struggling, but can only cry. He thinks, "I just came back to life, and now I have to die again." A bottle of milk is brought to his face. But as soon as it touches his lips, he immediately turns away, causing those around him to be terrified. They don't understand why he won't drink. He turns away, thinking he just became human again. There's no reason to drink this suspicious stuff. But then he wonders, why did I have to become human in the first place? His caretakers look embarrassed. They don't understand why. He isn't acting like a normal baby. If this continues, will he be able to sleep peacefully? Someone suddenly calls him Isaac, startling him. That name, isn't that his real name? But they mistook it for Isaac. He gradually understands the truth. It turns out he was sealed, but for some reason, he was reborn into a body with the same name as his. He scoffs, silently despising those who sealed him. They thought they were so great, but they were so stupid that they failed to imprison him. While he's still thinking, the bottle is shoved into his mouth. He immediately resists, making those around him fluster. They exclaim in amazement. Even though he's just a baby, his strength is incredible. He thinks to himself, is this vegetable juice? It's awful. He suspects this is a plot to poison him with this disgusting concoction. How ironic. He struggled so hard to become human, and now he has to face this. Elsewhere, in the holy temple of the Helen Holy Kingdom, an old man laughs sinisterly. He's convinced that the child can't survive. In front of him is Emperor Alexander. He coldly asks, "You seem very happy?" The old man bows respectfully, saying that the Yizher family has come to greet the saint candidate, because the Holy See cannot ignore the saint. The emperor smiles mysteriously, nodding. Undefined. agreeing that since this concerns the saint, they should check for themselves. But he also warns that, if something bad happens after handing over the saint to the Holy See, it would be very unfortunate. When the servants run to his room, they are extremely panicked. But contrary to their initial fears, the scene before them is astonishing. He is perfectly fine. He even drank all 15 bottles of vegetable juice. The servants are excited. He eats so well. He's truly an angel. The old man is stunned, unable to believe his ears. This is absurd. He should have died after drinking that. He's furious because the contents of the bottle weren't ordinary vegetable juice, but Diet Ton Tai, holy destruction disaster, a potent poison that can destroy holy power. If you drink enough, you will definitely die. But he had already noticed something unusual in his body. He understands that this is not an ordinary poison, but a source of energy that can be converted into the demonic energy of the demon tribe. He happily accepts it, thinking to himself, I didn't expect my enemies to inadvertently help me absorb demonic energy so easily. He enjoys it so much that he asks for another bottle, surprising those around him. They smile slyly, thinking, the more he drinks, the happier we are, because its effect cannot be manifested immediately. But he had a different thought. Great! With this victory, I will absorb all of this magical power. In a deep recess of his subconscious, he began to focus his mind, channeling the newly absorbed energy into his magic core. But during the process of condensing the energy, he suddenly noticed something strange. His magic core didn't have the usual color, but emitted a pure white light. He didn't understand why, but he felt this power far exceeded his expectations. He thought to himself, just how many blessings have been bestowed upon this tiny body. If I unlock its full potential, I could become a monster, stronger than anything I could have ever imagined. In the holy sanctuary, a terrified scream rang out. An enraged man roared, who dares to declare that a saint will rule the holy kingdom? It was the cardinal in a fit of rage. The cardinal was furious, saying everyone, even the lowliest families, insisted their child was the saint, including those of most humble origins. An elderly bishop below quickly tried to intervene, asserting that all other saint candidates had been eliminated. The cardinal nodded in agreement, but still showed signs of unease, saying there were disturbing rumors. These rumors made the bishop anxious. He became serious, his face grim and threatening, saying there was still one saint candidate from the Rose family. Hearing this, the bishop immediately stammered about this family, describing them as a powerful force in the court, and explaining that they couldn't interfere. However, before he could finish, the wine glass in the cardinal's hand fell, interrupting him. The wine spilled across the floor, looking like blood. The cardinal continued, asserting that the child would die as soon as the bishop arrived, and his task was merely to confirm that death. He emphasized that everything was already arranged. His expression grew increasingly terrifying, his every word seemingly intent on taking someone's life. He insisted that the saint must come from the Paris family. Meanwhile, the bishop stood before the child and thought to himself, it should be dead already. Yet, before his eyes, the baby was still alive. This shocked the bishop greatly. Cold sweat broke out on his face. The emperor was also present. He happily stroked the child's face and remarked that its golden hair was the same color as the founding king's. When asked about this, the bishop hesitantly confirmed that the emperor was correct. The baby, with innocent eyes, looked at them, thinking that the man before him was the emperor. The emperor even remarked that this child seemed closer to the divine than the current pope, truly a saint candidate for our country. The baby was surprised to hear this. It gradually realized this was the reason why people kept talking about the saint. Meanwhile, the bishop also felt uneasy. He thought to himself, if the emperor favored this child from the beginning, then things will be more complicated. This situation cannot continue. The bishop then offered to take care of the child. Hearing this, the emperor asked why. The bishop claimed that something was abnormal, because a newborn baby couldn't possibly drink so much vegetable juice. However, the emperor retorted, saying that it was normal for a saint candidate to drink the order's drinks. It's perfectly normal. The baby lying in the cradle thought to himself, I was originally the demon king, yet I've become a saint candidate. How ridiculous. The bishop continued to insist that it was still uncertain, asking the emperor to entrust the child to him. However, the emperor said that people from the Rose family were coming, so this matter could be discussed later. While the two were arguing, the baby suddenly sensed a strange aura. It quickly covered its mouth, worried. Could it be the dark magic that I haven't fully digested yet? It looked around instinctively to check. Could anyone have noticed? The bishop remained stubbornly persistent. He approached, asserting firmly that he had just sensed a dark aura of mana emanating from the child. His expression changed instantly, suspecting something was amiss. The child, hearing this, was frightened. As he found out, the bishop continued, saying that perhaps this child was a failed candidate, possessing dark magic. Therefore, it was necessary to report to the high priest for immediate judgment. The child, enraged, cursed inwardly. The emperor, unable to conceal his fury, roared. How dare the bishop speak like that about a noble saint candidate? But the bishop maintained his composure, insisting that the emperor need not worry, because the pope had already decided to choose the candidate from the Paris family as the next saint. Hearing this, the emperor became wary, thinking to himself, the bishop wants to elevate someone from his own family to be the saint. How shameless! The child was also furious, realizing that this was the reason the bishop wanted to eliminate him. The bishop picked up the child, ordering that he be taken to the high priest immediately. The child could only curse helplessly in his mind. The emperor spoke, reminding him that the Rose family was a close ally of the imperial court. As emperor, he believed the child still deserved consideration. The bishop replied that he understood, but also reminded him that the crown prince's blessing could only be bestowed after the saint was chosen. These words gave the emperor pause, making him ponder the current situation. He thought to himself, if I don't support the child the pope has chosen, he might refuse to bless the crown prince. He hesitated, wondering if this was truly the will of the church. Meanwhile, the child grew even more resentful, constantly cursing inwardly. These people are only driven by money. He feared that, if they discovered his true identity, things would become extremely complicated. However, his eyes kept darting around, observing his surroundings. The elderly bishop declared that, if necessary, they could immediately test the child with his exorcism abilities. But he failed to notice the milk bottle in the child's hand. While the bishop was still rambling on, explaining that if the boy was pure, nothing would happen, but if he was a demon, he would immediately. Suddenly, a loud noise erupted. In an instant, the bishop was struck directly in the face by the milk bottle in the child's hand, causing him to fall to the ground, unconscious. Immediately, teeth knocked loose from his jaw rained down. The child maintained an innocent expression, his tiny hand continuing to shake the milk bottle, as if nothing had happened. He simply thought that he just needed to keep acting like a real baby. The bishop, his face swollen from the blow, glared furiously at the child, unable to help but exclaim, just with a milk bottle, the damage. Is this terrifying? But those around him paid him no attention. Everyone was cheering. The child was astonished by the light emanating and said to himself, that must be holy power. If so, this child is definitely a saint. The child still had an innocent look, but inside, he was a little confused. He admitted he could feel the holy power within his body. But what exactly was this power? Not letting himself think further, he happily shook the bottle again and delivered another blow directly to the bishop's cheek. He wanted to see what else the old man could do to him. The old bishop, having been hit again, was terrified and thought, shivering inwardly as he repeatedly asked himself, could this be some kind of dark sorcery or some divine miracle? Amidst all this bizarre behavior, the emperor roars with unrestrained, delighted laughter. The nearby guards can't hide their excitement either. Isaac, full of fiery determination, keeps slapping the guard across the face. At the same time, he increases the hardness of his weapon. That's right, I'll use enhancement magic to make this bottle even harder. And then I'll pretend to be an innocent, blameless child. How do you like that, you jerk? Relentlessly struck in the face, the guard collapses to the ground. Witnessing this, another guard blurts out, that guy's been terrified by his grace's divine power. Isaac looks at his weapon, puzzled. Huh? What the heck is this? Although it's weak, every time I use dark mana, it's accompanied by a surge of divine power. These two are completely opposite. How can they be used together? It must be related to that white mana core. He was about to give him another blow when the bishop reached out and grabbed the milk bottle, his face filled with rage as he glared at Isaac. He snatched the bottle and threw it violently to the ground, then turned to the emperor and roared, I swear by everything I hold sacred, this child is a heretic. We must perform an exorcism immediately. Hearing this, Isaac couldn't help but feel annoyed. This stubborn old fool. He slipped his hand inside the bishop's robe. I didn't want to do this, but it looks like you're hiding something interesting. Isaac pulled out from inside him a severed hand, radiating a strange purple aura, both mysterious and terrifying. The bishop was terrified, his face turning pale. That hand, it's the remnant of a high-ranking demon, a creature that was destroyed long ago, an artifact capable of draining the life force of others. He carried it with him for protection. How could this brat know about this? Isaac now looked cunning, a sly expression clearly visible on his face. He tossed the hand behind him. Watch carefully, you fool. If you dare target me again, don't blame me. As soon as the demonic hand touched the ground, Isaac snapped his fingers, transforming it into a giant demon, terrifying the bishop. Demon? How is this possible? Isaac was clearly pleased with himself. Go deal with it, you idiot. In the temple, a strange, dark shadow suddenly appeared, with glowing red eyes and sharp claws. Everyone in the room gripped their weapons, ready to defend themselves. They screamed in terror. How could a shadow demon appear here? The emperor panicked, turning to the bishop. Mazel Balit, explain yourself. A demon in the temple? Have you gone mad? The bishop was terrified, his face pale, stammering his explanation. Your Majesty, that child just used a totem. The young master was astonished. A totem is an item linked to the soul of a dead demon. How could it revive a demon instantly? The emperor immediately ordered. The royal knights. Everyone listen up. Protect the child from that evil demon. And that bishop. All the soldiers obeyed in unison. A royal knight stepped forward, snatching the child from the bishop's arms. He couldn't react in time. What's going on? The boy, after being carried away, looked back at the crowd surrounding the demon. Serves that hateful old man right. Let's see how strong that bishop really is. The demon suddenly cried out, Saint, Saint! Then it roared. Kill the saint. The boy was bewildered. What was that? The demon roared again. Must kill the saint. Saying this, it lunged towards the boy. The royal knights immediately positioned themselves in front of the boy, protecting him. Protect the young master. Isaac, confused, wondered to himself, what the heck is going on? I'm the one who revived it. Why is it attacking me? Oh well, the holy knights are here. No need to worry. Just as he thought that, a holy knight was struck down by the demon. He collapsed to the floor in agony. The boy couldn't believe they were defeated so quickly. Are they really holy knights? The demon continued its advance, launching attacks towards him. Must kill the saint and rescue the imprisoned king. One by one, the royal holy knights fell before the demon. The knight holding the child grew increasingly terrified. He clutched the boy tighter. The boy was squeezed so tightly he could barely breathe. We must stop it first. In this chaos, no one will notice my mana. The demon charged furiously towards its target. Kill. The boy resolutely stared directly at the demon. Why? Are there so many who want to take my life? I saved you, and now you're targeting me? His gaze was cold, his eyes bloodshot. You ungrateful little demon. The demon, for a moment, was intimidated by his aura. A golden light suddenly emanated from him. The light grew brighter and brighter, overwhelming the demon. The light emanating from the boy was the aura radiating from the boy, left everyone around him, astonished by his extraordinary power. The light, like divine power, completely overwhelmed the demon, causing it to flee in terror. The demon turned into black smoke and vanished without a trace. The demon is escaping. Someone shouted. The shrine returned to its original peaceful state. It's truly divine power. Real divine power. Lord Yurik has defeated a high-ranking demon. It's incredible. He's so young. He truly is the young master. Everyone was full of praise. Looking at his small hands, the boy wondered, what's going on? Oh my God, that was really divine power. Why did all my mana disappear? Could it be that this strange body converted my mana into divine power? Wait a minute. Then how am I supposed to collect 10 dark mana? This holy kingdom is already scarce in dark mana. 2 royal knights are escorting the bishop. He yells, let me go, you fools. He roars in anger. That boy is a heretic. He used the power of demons. A demon dares to set foot in the holy kingdom? Your Majesty, allow me to show you. I will perform an exorcism ritual to reveal his true form. The emperor stops him. Enough, bishop. You dare to accuse. An innocent saint candidate of heresy? You even unleashed a high-ranking demon. In front of the royal holy knights? The emperor sternly declares, even if you are from the Holy See, I will not tolerate this. The bishop, knowing he couldn't turn the tide, was secretly calculating. The seed of doubt had been planted in his heart. He would soon find the spy. If that happened, the Holy See would suffer greatly, even if it cost me my life. I must save my family. While scheming, he made a hand seal, summoning a white wolf, sharp fangs and claws, glowing red eyes, hoping, at the very least, to eliminate the saint candidate. The giant white wolf lunged at the boy. In contrast to the terrified knights beside him, the boy remained calm. This stubborn fool finally showed his true colors. Did he really think he could kill me with such a weak attack? As the wolf approached, a realization dawned on him. I'm completely out of mana. Suddenly, a blue light appears. The light attacks the wolf from all directions, making it howl in pain. A cold, commanding voice rings out. How dare you touch a descendant of the Manhwa family? A handsome, imposing young master, wearing a blue cloak, enters. Several others follow him. They are also wearing blue cloaks, looking majestic and powerful. It's the knights of the Manhwa family. Leading them is the seventh son of the Manhwa family, Rylite Manhwa, the prince of the Manhwa family. Upon entering, he immediately orders the bishop's arrest. Seize him. Let me go, you dogs of the Manhwa family. How dare you touch me? The bishop resists. Young Eirik is lost in thought. Wait a minute, Manhwa. I think I've heard that name somewhere before. The prince ordered his knights. Show your respect. All the knights of the Manhwa family knelt down and shouted in unison. Greetings, young master of the Manhwa family. The prince turned to the boy. Sorry for being late, Eirik. Looking at the prince's imposing figure, the boy couldn't help but compare. The way he carries himself so seriously, he must be stronger than even the royal knights. No way. Is this to make up for past mistakes? This is a small gift I wanted to give you. As he spoke, the prince ordered a knight to take something out of his pocket. Something shiny. Oh, it's gold. A gold bar? The knight offered, bowing slightly. This is a model of the Skull Demon King being executed, my lord. Isaac was stunned by the introduction. Before he could recover, they continued. We also have a model of him being burned alive. Or perhaps you prefer the one where he's crushed? He felt dizzy and overwhelmed. Our young master is just too adorable. How can he be so cute? Isaac wanted to scream. How am I going to survive in this crazy family? In this utterly bizarre family? The commotion around him continued. He wondered when it would ever end. Look how delighted he is, so precious. He's so moved that he's even shedding tears. Suddenly, he remembered something. Wait a minute, Zojer. All right, it was the Saintesses who had tried to destroy him. He recalled the battles of the past. A girl once introduced herself to him. I am Co Sasher, the 45th Saintess. Another girl. I am OK Soa, the 61st Saintess. You are not worthy to know my name. He suddenly wakes up. I knew it. They're all from that damn Sasher family. Not only a saint candidate, but I was also born into a family full of saintesses. What kind of terrible crime did I commit in my past life to deserve this cruel twist of fate in this life? Suddenly someone screams, you damn Sashers. A knight is holding a bishop tightly. How dare you? Shut your mouth. The bishop continues to curse. I knew you were all heretics. And where did you pick up that creature from? I will expose your true identity, he growls. A sword is about to be drawn. While he continued his tirade. Unbelievable. That you would dare bring that monster with you. Has the Zojer family truly fallen this far? I will definitely destroy the Zojer family. As soon as he finished speaking, a slash to the throat. Blood splattered everywhere. The prince of the Zojer family sheathed his sword. You should be grateful for the Zojer family's mercy. Thanks to that, we didn't cut your head off. Isaac thought to himself, oh, this guy seems pretty useful. He's willing to attack even a bishop for bad-mouthing his family. If there's a good reason, he might even attack the Holy See. The knights nearby anxiously advised their young master. You don't need to listen to those words. You only need to see and hear the good things, my lord. Isaac ignored their words. Get lost, you fools. None of you are any use. I think I remember them. The Blue Zojer. They used to be incredibly powerful enemies. My former subordinates. Just thinking about the Blue Zojer sends shivers down my spine. They keep teasing Isaac relentlessly. Chop off the Skull Demon King's head. Off with it. Off with it. Stop it, please. Isaac wants to scream, because the emperor finally speaks. I won't forget this debt of gratitude. Speaking of which, could you talk to the head of your family about the imperial family raising this child? The prince of the Zozier family replies, Your Majesty, please don't joke like that. Isaac's eyes light up. Oh, am I being noticed by the imperial family? The emperor tries to persuade him. Both inside and outside the Holy Kingdom, everyone will be targeting this young master. You must realize this, don't you? Of course, the Zozier family is by no means weak. But are you certain that your current Azure faith is strong enough to protect this child? The prince hesitated for a moment. Isaac, eavesdropping, whispered, What are they talking about? The emperor continued, Especially since the Holy Pope also doesn't accept this child. The boy has the same hair color as the founding emperor. Moreover, it's possible the Skull Demon King is also after him. Isaac was startled. Wait a minute, I'm the Skull Demon King? Why would I be chasing myself? The prince stopped him, holding Isaac tighter. Please forgive me, Your Majesty. Since this child is of the Zozier lineage, we will raise him as a member of our family. Whether it's the Pope or the White-Bone Demon King, the Zozier family is more than capable of handling them. In fact, I believe the former saintess, Melissa, would be delighted to meet the White-Bone Demon King again. The emperor remained silent, implicitly agreeing. I think so too. The prince continued, Then, what must we do to be able to agree to handing over the direct descendant of Saintess Melissa to be raised by the imperial family? Isaac suddenly remembered an old acquaintance. Wait a minute, Melissa, my final enemy, before attacking the celestial realm? That was Melissa, the most stubborn and insane saintess I've ever faced. Not only was she born a saint candidate in a family full of saintesses, but she's also a direct descendant of Melissa? What's going on with my life this time around? What is a saintess? After countless failures against the White-Bone Demon King, they decided to create the ultimate weapon, and that is the Saintess. The Saintess is so powerful that the White-Bone Demon King is terrified. A divine staff created to punish evil. A holy light battle, the light of God of the Holy Kingdom, and the highest title of the new knight. The overwhelming power of the Saintesses made everyone believe that the White-Bone Demon King would soon be destroyed. Perfect offense and defense, comparable to divine instinct. Intense vitality. Attacks that disregard their own safety. Beautiful, strong, and long-lived individuals. However, the White-Bone Demon King is incredibly brutal. Isaac recalls, I have never killed a saintess. Doing so would only put me at a disadvantage. When a saintess is killed, all of her holy power returns to the gods and is used to nurture the future saintesses. But the last saintess, Melissa, was truly powerful. I never imagined Melissa was my ancestor. The prince continued, Saintesses are those who only desire to destroy the White-Bone Demon King. The Zozier family is the only family that produces saintesses, and our sole duty is to defeat all enemies who oppose the gods. I assure you, the Zozier family is fully capable of protecting this child. The request was denied, and the emperor pondered deeply. A knight of the Zozier family spoke up. That's right, Your Majesty. Do you know how many saintesses have fallen at the hands of the White-Bone Demon King? Isaac frowned. What did I even do? I didn't touch anyone. The knight continued his accusation. The White-Bone Demon King once imprisoned a saintess in a labyrinth because he believed she was unworthy of his presence. And 5 saintesses have already died of despair. Isaac feels wronged, but I let her go. How was I supposed to know she had such a terrible sense of direction? Damn it, they should have gone to a hospital. The prince reassures him, It's okay, don't worry. Even if you are cursed, we will do everything to protect you. Isaac says angrily, I'm the one who can't accept this. The emperor continues, picking Isaac up. We are so grateful for your birth. Your mother and I only ask one thing of you. His eyes filled with hope. That in the future, you don't become a villain like the White-Bone Demon King. Isaac frowned. Oh, my unknown parents, I apologize for shattering your hopes and dreams. Your hopes and dreams. The emperor persisted. Please reconsider. The Bone Demon King has been sealed for 150 years. Isaac was shocked to realize the current time. Has it been that long? Then, does that mean Melissa is dead? She would be 50 years old now, since our last battle. During that time, the demon race has begun to expand its power. Having a saint by our side would be a golden opportunity to increase the prestige of the Holy Kingdom. Therefore, This young master is very important to the royal family. However, there is currently no saintess of the Zosier family. It has been over a year since the saintess was born, and that child disappeared along with her husband. Isaac's eyes widened in astonishment. My mother is a saintess? But the prince of the Joshua family completely ignored this. Even though my brother is absent, the head of the house is still incredibly strong. The Joshua family is more than capable of protecting this child. Aisha clutched her head, pulling at her hair. I thought nothing could shock me more than this. How? What could possibly be more shocking than my mother being a saintess? Didn't you say Lady Melissa is currently on her way to eliminate the demon lord subordinates? She'll probably be back soon. The lady of the house will surely be delighted to meet her grandson. Aisha's face fell, filled with anguish. Hey, that woman has lived for over 200 years. Why hasn't she kicked the bucket yet? It will still take some time for Melissa to return. And it seems like the child is feeling uneasy, isn't he? Is he all right? It'll be all right. Aisha was sweating bullets, her face pale. You think I'll be okay? When my mortal enemy is still alive and kicking? The moment Melissa finds out, I'll be burned at the stake. Anyone but her. Melissa is the last person I want to see. Isaac clung tightly to the Emperor's hand, desperate to survive. He put on his most adorable expression. Your Majesty, please take me with you. Oh, this child. They're fighting over Isaac again. Even the child wants to go with the imperial family. He's just a little too friendly. Your Majesty. The Emperor pulled Isaac closer. The imperial family can provide so much for him, even though the Joshua family specializes in training saintesses, but they don't have much experience in raising a saint. The prince wouldn't back down. This child is destined to be an exorcist knight, and there's no better family than Joshua when it comes to training exorcist knights. Your Highness, furthermore, he's also the first male saint in history. So wouldn't that mean the imperial family also lacks experience in raising a saint? Why are you two fighting so much? The imperial family is better, right? The Joshua family is better. Aisha was exhausted. Oh my God, stop it. The knights also intervened. Please calm down. You're going to tear the young master in half. Stuck in the middle, Isaac was helpless. I'll go with the imperial family, so stop it. I don't want to die. Besides, the light that shines on life. That light keeps radiating from the Emperor. So, it means I'll have a better chance of survival. If I stick with the Emperor, I can't miss this opportunity. The Emperor, pleased and satisfied, can't hide his smile. Wise choice, little one. Isaac's eyes light up. Meanwhile, in another development, in a desolate place, Aisha's voice from back then, there's no mistaking it. She used magic. I'm sure that child is a devil's offspring. It's the bishop standing before a mysterious group of people. One of them asks, are you the leader? Divine power is bestowed by God himself, so are you telling me that the demon race possesses divine power? A sword is drawn. The bishop is terrified, but I'm certain it was demonic magic. How could I possibly mistake demonic magic for divine power? The leader replies coldly. The Holy See has made its final judgment regarding your declaration. The cardinal had barely finished speaking when the blade sliced through his carotid artery. Blood splattered everywhere. The executioner, eyes bloodshot, read the sentence. The crime of blasphemy. Another suggested, I will go gather the assault team. No need. The emperor will bring the child with him anyway. Since there are many opportunities in the imperial territory, I'll deal with it later. Lying in his cradle, Isaac felt an itch in his ear. I think someone just mentioned me, right? This time, that brat will definitely die. In the dim night, a group of people in black cloaks were gathered in a corner of the courtyard. Amidst the howling wind of the late night, they were awaiting their leader's command. After just one, he smirked, a sinister grin spreading across his lips. Either way, the emperor would take the child with him, because there were plenty of opportunities in the imperial territory. So, they'd figure things out later. A quiet, confident whistle escaped his lips. This time, that brat would definitely meet his end. Meanwhile, Kim Yurik. At this moment, the boy was completely unaware that someone was thinking of him. The boy was lying half asleep, when suddenly his ears started to itch. From Yurik's perspective, through the window, next to the small bed, the sunlight outside was dazzling. The sky seemed vaster than ever. Scratching his ear, his reddish eyes squinted, and he thought to himself, right now, I'm on my way to Josier. Looking down from above, one could easily spot a luxurious carriage, escorted by knights in full armor, riding alongside on horseback. The group in black from last night is lying in ambush. From up high, witnessing this scene, their faces are filled with astonishment. Everyone's eyes quickly turn towards their leader, searching for an answer. Wait, sir. We need to rewind the story a few days. Inside a room, a blinding light appears, making people curious about what it could be. Kim Yurik is currently being held by Alexander Helcliffe-Heller. The light is so bright that he has to raise his tiny, chubby hands to cover his eyes. His little mind is in complete chaos. Why is it so bright? My eyes. Rilate Joshua quickly speaks up. Yes, Your Majesty, Joshua is not a suitable place to raise a child. He bows his head respectfully and speaks honestly. You might be thinking, it's a place filled only with the corpses of demons and manacores. Kim Arak was also very surprised, exclaiming, is the elementals will to survive that strong? A brilliant halo appeared in Rylite Josher's hand. His eyes also became warm, and he spoke. The most precious thing in Josher, at most, is just the withered remains of the Demon King. Hearing this shocking information, Kim Arak's face turned pale. His mouth agape, my body. You're keeping my body? Inside, the boy was screaming wildly. You should have told me sooner. Kim Arak quickly reached out his small hand and grabbed Rylite Josher's hand, causing him to pause mid-sentence. Even so, Josher couldn't help but chuckle. Kim Arak's face was incredibly excited. He waved his hand, attracting everyone's attention. The tiny child is expressing delight in the cutest way. Rylite Josher can't resist the overwhelming cuteness. She covers her mouth with her hand, deeply moved. Yurik returns to the present. Kim Yurik is lying down, gazing out the window. His mind is a whirlwind of tangled thoughts. Though he was cast out of the royal family and forced into the military, if he wants to reclaim his body, he has no other choice. A thought flashes through the boy's mind. The image of a ghastly, dried-up skeleton, holding a magical orb. The body I've honed, magic power comparable to that of a god. If I can get it back, level 10 will be nothing. Thinking of the blinding light summoned by Rylite Josher, the boy becomes even more determined in his decision. Moreover, it was the first time I've seen such a powerful light of the will to survive. Following you to Josher will be greatly beneficial for my survival. In the carriage, the golden-haired knight was extremely curious. Why were the Pope's forces chasing after young Master Yurik? Hearing this question, Kim Yurik also quickly moved closer, quietly eavesdropping. I'm also wondering why they're panicking so much. Rylite Josher didn't hide anything and said directly, because they received a prophecy from the gods. They said that the saint will become the child of the gods. The two people in the carriage continued their conversation, completely unaware of the little boy eavesdropping. So, you will be the next pope? That's right. That's why those Balit people want a saint of their own. Kim Yurik's chubby face was now filled with dark lines. With the direction the story was taking, developing so strangely, the boy quickly recalled some information in his head. The Pope, the Supreme Pontiff, wielder of level 10 divine magic. He is akin to an emperor. To all the clergy and holy knights in the Holy Kingdom, he holds supreme power, equal to that of the emperor. Kim Arak sat leisurely, chin resting on his hand, lost in thought. For thousands of years, Belitum has always produced popes. That's why we have prospered. But to think that the saint would take that away from us, making all the other families also yearn to produce a saint of their own. Just then, a commotion arose from outside the carriage, drawing the attention of the two inside. Grid quickly poked his head out and asked the coachman, "What's going on?" He stammered in response, "Master Grid, we've arrived at the duchy, but there seems to be a slight problem." Behind the coachman, 3 gate guards are slowly approaching. Getting closer, the lead guard raises his hand, signaling the carriage to stop. "I'm sorry, you're not allowed to enter the duchy." Seeing the tense situation, Kim Yurik also peeks out. "What's going on now?" Overgeared King Grid shouts angrily. "You fools! Do you dare not recognize the crest of the overgeared family? What kind of training did you receive?" The lead guard sneers, revealing sharp fangs. He growls, "Of course you can't enter." As soon as he finishes speaking, he lunges. His hand transforms into sharp claws, ready to pounce. "We must eliminate the child carrying the Sainus' bloodline." The knights witnessing this scene are terrified. Kim Yurik, who was just looking for some action, is also startled. "What the hell is this? I gave the order forbidding them to attack human territory. What is the new Demon King up to? The red-haired demon grinned menacingly, pointing and declaring, "Listen up, you lowly humans. Our great and mighty ruler has ordered the extermination of all saints and saintesses." Without hesitation, hearing this, Grid could only remain speechless. "I knew it. The new Demon King has taken the throne." The red-haired demon continued his speech. "In the name of our great skull Demon King, our King Iraq will slaughter all saints." Hearing those arrogant words, Grid's face twitched, and he muttered under his breath, "In the name of what monkey? When did I ever say that, you idiot?" The demon horde, radiating a thick demonic aura, bared their fangs and claws menacingly. "If you hand over the child, His Majesty, the Skeleton Demon King, will spare your life." Before they could even finish, a bolt of lightning struck down, incinerating one of the demons, leaving the rest frozen in shock. After the flash, the demon was nothing but a charred pile of flesh, slumped on the ground. Though terrified, one of them still gritted his teeth and threatened. "You cowardly holy knight!" Grid ground his teeth. "Dare you speak such words to the exorcist of the overgeared family? It seems you have a death wish." Grid drew his sword, pointing it straight ahead, his face hidden in the shadows, his expression unreadable. "Listen up." Grid reversed his grip on the sword, speaking slowly. "To protect all that is good in this world, the overgeared family will annihilate all evil forces." The knights simultaneously drew their swords, following Gerald Josier's lead. Their spirits soared. After the words that received everyone's agreement, "We will chase you to the ends of hell, to eradicate your entire species." Rahito's hair blew wildly in the wind. His eyes were cold, and he sneered. "I can't believe that cruel Skull King sent his minions here. These demons haven't seen a coffin yet, have they? So they still come charging in. You lowly human dare." The Lizard King demon swung his claws, roaring furiously. "Blaspheme Demon King Iraq, for the resurrection of His Majesty King Iraq." The knights of the Josier family did not flinch either. They quickly drew their swords to block. The golden-haired knight immediately shielded Kim Iraq and covered his eyes. The young man reacted instantly. Kim Ura sprang up and jumped aside. Though he had just escaped danger, he still managed to reassure the other person. "My apologies, young master," Kim Yulak said as he retreated at breakneck speed. Still dazed and confused, he exclaimed, "What's going on? Is there an imposter?" The blonde knight quickly, the golden-haired knight hurriedly carried Isaac to a secluded forest. Stopping, he gently placed the boy down on a lush green patch of grass and kindly instructed, "Please stay here." The golden-haired knight swiftly cast a magic spell, creating a protective barrier around Isaac. Then, he pledged, "I'll be back shortly." The boy was incredibly surprised by the magical barrier, a defensive shield. Isaac reached out his small hand, surmising, even a high-ranking demon wouldn't be able to penetrate this. It's truly solid. After examining it for a moment, he broke into a bright, satisfied smile. Since nothing can get in from the outside, that means nothing can escape from the inside. Having understood the situation, Isaac decided to close his eyes and focus his mind. In that case, survival instinct activate, release magic. The surrounding space suddenly transformed magically. A sparkling sea of stars filled Isaac's mind. Isaac, heed my call. One born of magic, yet possessing intelligence. Following the soft whispers, the observer, a dark shadow with a seemingly ferocious appearance, emerged. But as soon as it appeared, its ferocity vanished, replaced by a cute demeanor. "My lord, my master." Isaac quickly covered its mouth. "Shoo, I understand, it's been a long time. Be quiet, or you'll be locked up." The observer eagerly expressed its longing for its master. "I thought I would never see your face again." Isaac replied, "I thought I was a goner too," looking at the black mist happily singing. Isaac became a little pensive. "It's been a while," he muttered. "Even though it's just a search spell, it has its own consciousness. I created it because manually searching and analyzing results with magic was too cumbersome. Throughout the journey, it developed a personality, but it's still quite naive." The observer suddenly chuckled, interrupting his thoughts. "Your cruelty remains as ever, master. Congratulations on possessing the body of an innocent child." Feeling insulted, Isaac retorted, "Hey now." The observer flew around listlessly, then inquired, "But what did those filthy gods do to you, master? No matter how wicked my master is, I can't believe they trapped you in this filthy child's body." Not wanting to continue this topic, Isaac shooed it away. "Enough. Go scout for enemies." Getting down to business, the observer immediately became serious. Dropping its playful demeanor, it quickly said, "I'm starting now." Instantly, it created a vortex of demonic energy and shot off. "I'll now scout within a 100-meter radius." Using its abilities, the observer quickly reported the situation. "There are eight enemies. All of them are monsters. The likes of them will never be a match for you, my great master." Hearing this information, Isaac was so shocked he almost cursed. "Are you insane? Wait, 8? Are they trying to start a war?" In his confusion, something suddenly occurred to him. It'll be troublesome if security in the territory is increased. Summoning subordinates will also become more difficult. It's so crowded. I must finish this before the Joe Sure family catches me. Isaac Kim knelt down, determined. "Even if I have to use all my mana reserves, I'll do it myself." Noticing his master's helpless expression, the observer still reported steadily. "There are currently 51 enemies." It hastily announced the important news. "The number of enemies is decreasing rapidly. Now there are only 31. Isaac was a little surprised by this news. What? Suddenly, fulfilling its duty as a reporting machine, the observer quickly updated the new information. "Now it's 13, young master. Something is approaching." Violet Jozier was also startled, shouting, "All troops, get ready. Prepare for defense." In the midst of the fierce battle, suddenly a group of speed demons appeared. They rushed to this place. "Only 4 left. You've come too, brother?" The lizard demon grinned, sticking out his tongue, urging his comrades on. "Let's do this together." The observer bowed his head, his expression unreadable. He muttered incessantly, "Today, we will take the saint's life." Saint! The lizard demon didn't even finish a sentence before taking a punch to the gut. The rest of them were startled. Only the Skull Demon King, Cian, the Jozier Knights who witnessed this were stunned into silence. Their faces were pale. The observer laughed gleefully, trying to take credit from Isaac. "There are no more enemies." But immediately, he hastily changed his announcement. "In the distance, the knights are facing a giant monster. I've detected Nick the Phantom." The Phantom roared in anger. "You dare touch my king with those filthy hands? Give me your life." Kimarak, witnessing this, his face twitched uncontrollably. He seemed utterly bewildered by the situation. "What's with him now?" The totem continued to emit strange noises. "You dare touch my king with your filthy hands? Perish here." Isaac, witnessing this, turned pale. "What's wrong with him now?" The totem's eyes flashed with murderous intent again. It spoke in a hoarse voice. "My king, my only master." The totem's killing intent intensified. He roared, "And you dare to imprison him within the body of a lowly child?" Because Isaac was the one who freed him, all the twisted affection that the Dark Tennis had for him exploded. It warned those present, "Do not persist." In looking at the child with those disgusting eyes, the totem roars again, "I will gouge out your eyes." Seeing this, the blonde knight anxiously asks Gil-Lai beside him, "Young master, what is he saying?" However, humans cannot understand because he is speaking in a different language. The totem laughs smugly. "Oh, what true chaos." Isaac is a bit embarrassed. "It seems that bastard has recognized me as the Skeleton Demon King. His efforts are commendable." But then, the knights begin to take action. "All knights, prepare for battle." Iraq silently screams internally. "What the hell are you doing? Are you improvising a play?" He begins trying to convey his meaning to the blonde knight. "Not far away. Ba-ba-ga-ga. The gist is, you bastard don't block my path to survival. Ba-ba, my mana core is abundant." Seeing this, he spoke up with a powerful voice. Young Master Isaac, please wait just a little longer. I'll take care of him right away." An eerie laughter echoed again. The totem couldn't hide his smugness. "My master has recognized me. My guiding light has recognized me. It's just that." In the golden-haired knight's eyes, there was only fear and screaming. Young Master Blaine, that demon is showing hostility." At this moment, the totem dashed past the knights. "I'm coming to my master right away." Rylite quickly realized who that direction was aimed at. That vile thing is heading towards Isaac. The totem rushed forward frantically. You filthy paladins! How dare you seal him in such a dirty place? Isaac, seeing this, became flustered. Yes, I've caught his eye. He couldn't help but feel helpless. I can't let my mana core be exorcised. Isaac desperately tried to convey Baba, meaning, start by breaking this protective barrier. At this, the totem laughed excitedly. He continuously targeted Isaac's protective shield. Received your command. The golden-haired knight frantically shouted, Young master, magic shield. Rylite was equally panicked. Isaac smiled slightly, satisfied. Escorted by the totem, he praised it. Baba, well done. Isaac reached out and grabbed the totem. Baba, now, stop messing around. Take a little rest. Still not understanding what was happening, the totem cried out in panic. Mas, master. With that, Isaac threw him far away with a single toss. Only a desperate scream remained. Why? Rylite witnessed this scene, his face turning pale. Could it be? Isaac was still relaxing there. From this, we can deduce that he has turned the ogre into a sacred object. The blonde knight, unable to contain his excitement, exclaimed. He wholly artifacted demonkin on the very first try. Isn't that incredible? The others joined him, praising Isaac. That's divine magic, a magic that at least a cardinal or a saintess would need to cast. Isaac thought to himself, divine magic? Please, I used mana. Highlight speculated. That must be the divine magic of holy artifact. But even if such a high-level divine magic was used, it's strange that I didn't sense any divine power from it. The blonde knight reasoned. He must be the type that only reveals his true power in times of crisis. He recalled the event. And that guy also appeared unexpectedly, young master. I'm sure that even that dark kid sensed the danger instinctively, so he hastily tried to eliminate the source of the threat. The golden-haired knight couldn't stop praising Isaac in his heart. Our young master is truly exceptional. I have absolute faith in that. I'm certain that the young master is the saint. Ral called out from afar, hold on, he's not wrong. Even the demon nobles are coming here to target the child. Even if he's not the saint, there's definitely something special about that child. He gritted his teeth and wondered, but why does it have to be his son? Ral pondered. Because of the Skull Demon King's curse, the sons of Zojer will. Suddenly, the golden-haired knight's voice boomed, interrupting his train of thought. I've made up my mind. He held Isaac close, his resolve firm. As the captain of the Azure Faith Squad, I will protect Isaac's future. You will become the future of Zojer. Ral was slightly taken aback. He chuckled softly and replied, I understand. I was being foolish. Highlight reached out to hold Isaac. I was so worried about the Skull King's curse. This child will bring glory to Zojer. He picked Isaac up, confidently declaring, Let's go home, Isaac. I will teach you many things. Highlight continued, You have exceptional talent, so I will raise you to be an extraordinary knight. Isaac thought to himself, I'm not going to become that. Just get me home and give me back my body. Highlight said something that stunned Isaac. Even if you don't have much time to live, I will protect you at all costs. He was taken aback. Ryle then declared, Your name will be known throughout this continent. Isaac vehemently protested. Baba, hold on. I have a feeling you just said something very unpleasant. Ryle on the other side understood. Yes, I knew you'd like this. Isaac screamed. No. Ryle suggested, When we get home, I'll start teaching you how to curse. That dishonorable Skull Demon King. Isaac silently cursed. Damn you, you Zojer bastards. At this moment, the carriage arrived at the Zojer Duchy. The statues were sculpted from pure, gleaming gold. Even the architecture of the building was incredibly elaborate. Isaac looked at the scenery outside and grew even more furious. These Zojer bastards, they're so eager to exterminate the demon race. But in reality, they live such a luxurious life. How much did all this cost? Isaac remembered his time in the demon world and felt heartbroken. These bourgeois bastards. I had to work my ass off, tear my clothes, just to feed my kids. The shadow whispered to him, Oh my master, this place is on a whole other level. Compared to our crumbling palaces, just selling a few of those statues, we could buy a dozen castles for the Demon King. Isaac immediately reminded him, I know, shut up. Raoul lifted Isaac up and said, This is the Zojer estate, Isaac. This is the origin of exorcism and monster slaying on this continent. He carried Isaac over to take a look. A group of people were practicing with dummies. When you grow up, you'll be just like these children. They kept hitting the dummies with sticks, shouting, Demon King. Those people struck with fury in their expressions. Curse you. Even tearing you into pieces wouldn't be enough. Skeleton Demon King. Those words echoed endlessly. Isaac was stunned. What are you teaching these kids? Is this family this fanatical? He comforted himself, thinking it didn't really matter anyway. Isaac thought to himself, once I infiltrate this holy empire, I'll burn the emperor alive and make this my own empire. AI Jack whispered insinuatingly in his ear. What are you doing? The Skull Demon King holding a grudge against some playful children? How pathetic. He reminded it, shut up and go scout around. It immediately obeyed. Of course, a magnificent, splendid building shining brightly, causing everyone to exclaim, wow. Witnessing this scene, Isaac whispered, amazing. Those are all mana cores. There must be dozens. The Shadow also had to admit, this is the first time I've seen so many mana cores concentrated in one place. Just how many demon kin did they slaughter? At this time, the servant reported, young master, we have arrived. Rylite stepped down from the carriage and ordered, prepare a room for me. Isaac will be staying with me. Hearing that, the butler stammered, about that. He quickly said, I apologize, young master. We were ordered to take young master Isaac to the annex. Hearing this, he questioned, the annex? Why? The butler looked troubled. He replied, well, the fifth young master instructed us to never allow young master Isaac into the main building. Isaac felt incredibly annoyed. What's going on now? Rylite was naturally equally upset. He wants to send Isaac to that godforsaken, cursed place. Isaac was even more confused. This family is truly bizarre. Ever since I was wandering outside like a newborn, I knew it. The house of Rakazurian is crumbling. Rylite complained. He's doing something completely useless. AI Jack silently agreed. Exactly. I live in this mansion, so why should I move to the annex? Whisper whispered in his ear. The mana cores are located in the annex. Rylite commanded, step back. I can't leave my nephew in that desolate, demonic place. Hearing this, Isaac vehemently protested, Dad, no, the annex. I must go to the annex. Rylite didn't understand Isaac's words. He tried to soothe him. Come to Uncle's room, Isaac. Uncle will read you scriptures about the great holy maiden who fought against the Skull Demon Lord, like a bedtime story every night. After that's done, Uncle will teach you exorcism methods, specifically created to deal with the Skull Demon Lord. Isaac was terrified, his face pale. That's exorcising me. Are you trying to kill me? Just then a voice spoke up. It's just picking up a homeless child. Why are you making such a big deal out of it? He scoffed. I clearly said to take that child to the annex building. That insolent fool dared to defy Rylite. It took him long enough to show up, and you were planning to oppose your own brother? That man was none other than the fifth son of the Zagare family, Gowl Zagare. Isaac turned his head and exclaimed, whoa! Seeing the two confront each other, he concluded, he's a thug. Gowl scoffed. Put that thing down. I'll send it to the annex. Rylite angrily retorted, are you kidding me? This child is a descendant of Zagare. There's no way we're sending him to the annex, a place once used for exile. Isaac desperately wanted to scream internally, put me down, just send me to the annex. At this moment, Gowl reached out and touched Isaac's cheek, asking, where did you find this skinny little thing? He then mocked, descended my foot. Hearing that, he thought to himself, I like the idea of being sent to the annex, but what's wrong with this guy? Are you a member of the clergy or just a thug? Isaac breathed a sigh of relief, deciding, whatever. I just need to get to the annex and absorb the mana core. Rylite, on the other hand, was questioning Gable. You thought, I didn't know the reason you wanted to send this child to the annex? He bluntly exposed him. You want everyone to think this child is cursed, so you can strip him of his inheritance. Isaac suddenly snapped out of it. Strip me of my inheritance? Hold on, just a minute. AI Jack remembered something and became furious. Want to hit someone? No way. I still want to drain this family's energy, become a saint, then the Pope, and get revenge on those damn gods. Gable calmly replied, wanting everyone to keep thinking that way. I heard a demon appear to kidnap this boy. It seems like it's been cursed. The blonde knight, hearing this, retorted angrily. That's not true. Young Master Isaac participated in driving out that demon. He sternly recounted the event of the demon's appearance, because he proved his worth. Even the knight behind him chimed in, that's right. He possesses the divine power of a saint. The man burst into laughter. That's hilarious. How long are you going to keep covering for this piece of trash? Don't mess with me. If you insist on calling him the next saint, then show me his power. Taking the opportunity, Whisper suggested to Isaac, "Why don't you show him your abilities? Summon a meteor, for example." Hearing this, he rejected the idea. "What meteor?" Gowl clicked his tongue and continued, "Right, if you want to call him a saint." He pointed to something in the distance, setting a condition. "That thing over there." Gowl challenges Isaac. "Family crest or whatever. Why don't you tell him to revive the thing that he cherished so much?" He sneers mockingly. "The divine tree died because of the demon's dark magic. So if he's qualified to be a saint, then he should be able to revive it easily, right?" Gowl emphasizes smugly. "That is, if he's really a saint candidate, like you all claim." Hearing this, Iblin asks him again, "Do you even understand what you're saying?" Ishak scolds Aim Lisa. "You're great at fighting, but your descendants are worthless." He ponders. The eldest son is missing, and the second son was adopted. Suddenly, Ishak realizes something. "Haha." Whisper is confused. What is it?" Yitzhak grabs it and asks, "What do you think?" Whisper is still clueless. Haha. He throws it away directly. "Charge, puppy." Whisper could only helplessly cry out, "Wait, hold on." Xylide was still trying to reason with Gowl. "A withered tree. You want a baby who can't even talk yet." But then they both froze and turned around. Highlight's pupils dilated. What is this? The divine tree? The tree rapidly turned green and vibrant again. Everyone looked at the flourishing tree, exclaiming in astonishment, "It's alive!" Gowl stammered. Even restoration and purification magic couldn't save it. He asked suspiciously, "Just what happened?" Isaac smirked. "Oh, it was nothing." He recalled, "There was some dark magic near the roots, so I just stuffed it to..." Whisper, at that moment, returned and reported, "I've absorbed all the dark magic over there. I feel so bloated." The golden-haired knight asked in alarm, Sir Isaac, how did that tree... What did you do?" Hearing this, he admitted, "I didn't do anything." The young man was stunned. "So, does that mean..." Ishak, nestled within Isaac, made a few soft noises. "Sigh, all that magic power. What a waste." Whispering, she retorted, "So what? Do you want me to throw it back up?" Then the golden-haired knight shouted, "Sir Isaac did it." At this point, Gowl chuckled awkwardly. "You idiots! No one in the family can save this tree. How could a mere milk-drinking brat do it?" He thought someone must have helped. That's right. But no one paid any attention to Gowl. They were busy cheering for Isaac. As expected of young Master Isaac, Gowl muttered to himself, "That's right, it must have been Balin." Unfortunately, the cheers drowned out his voice again. First exorcising demons, and now purification. Gowl trembled with rage. "It was you, wasn't it?" Highlight retorted. "What are you talking about?" Gowl angrily rushed to confront Isaac. "You always use such dirty tricks." He tried to explain. "How could you possibly meet the missing saintess?" Isaac, annoyed, spoke up for Aim Lisa. "You should focus on managing your own household affairs, instead of hunting demons. Your family is a complete mess." Observing Gowl, he realized, these people who claim to be her brothers don't resemble Aim Lisa at all. I'd sooner believe Isaac is Aim Lisa in disguise. Whispering, he guessed, stepbrothers? Ishak suddenly understood. "Oh, I think he looks rather like that wretched pope." Gowl, furious, screamed, "Don't play dumb. You think I don't know that you brought this bastard here to elevate him to the position of the next saint? Even though there's already a candidate in the family, you still pull this dirty trick?" Isaac wondered if there were other candidates within the family, and that thug wanted that candidate to win. Whisper chuckled, teasing him. "You have to compete with those people." Seeing that he didn't seem worried at all, he taunted him. "Don't you think that the one supported by that guy is just as vile as him? It would be interesting to defeat such a person." Whisper nodded, acknowledging, "That's true." Rayla grabbed his collar, adjusting her posture. "Can you please let the boy go? He's your nephew, the son of our eldest brother. He has the right to inherit this family." Gowl laughed loudly, his tone sarcastic. "Nonsense. Eldest brother? He ran away when the family was in danger." He cursed in front of Isaac. "Say it straight, you bastard. Only now you're telling us he had a son? Our eldest brother?" Isaac smirked inwardly. "That's why I'm the outcast child. I really do have a tragic life." Whisper consoled him. "Sir, you shouldn't speak so pessimistically about your own life." Gowl smirked and continued, "Well, that bastard is probably still the son of the saintess. He's just an illegitimate child of the saintess that everyone brought back. But she's still the saintess." He retorted to Rayla, "Besides, how can we be sure he's the child of my brother? He's good-looking. He must take after that woman." Gowl rambled on. Before he could finish, he was punched. "For the good of the family. I could even sell him off to continue the bloodline." he screamed after being hit. Are you crazy? Did you just hit me? Rayla retorted. Did you think you could get away with saying those things? While the knights were terrified, Isaac was thoroughly enjoying it. Nice. Siblings love each other so much, they bite each other hard. A sarcastic take on sibling rivalry. Thanks to you, I've gained a lot more useful information. Seeing the two sides rushing into a brawl, the surrounding knights hurried to intervene. My lord, you can't do this. Stop them. Isaac thought to himself, the more chaotic this family is, the better. It'll be easier for me to take over. He chuckled with delight, leaving Whisper speechless. Ha 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 ha. Damn noble family, just collapse already. Whispers then instigated Isaac. Think about it. If the family collapses, wouldn't you be done for too? Did your brain shrink along with your childish body? Hearing that, he looked annoyed. Shut up. Another beautiful day at the mansion. Isaac sat in one place, sulking. His face was scrunched up like a monkey eating chili. This is so annoying. Those present began to gossip about Isaac. Another son. What are we going to do with another son? Isaac secretly cursed. No one in this house is normal. They treat their own children and grandchildren like dirt. The gossip made him incredibly irritated. We already took in that woman. We have already appointed that woman as a saintess. She shouldn't have given birth to another useless son. Therefore, she is not qualified to be a saintess. Chae-young desperately wanted to scream, You're all insane. You've gone too far. Suddenly, the voice of the woman leading the meeting rang out. Silence. Elias Joshua's second wife, the acting head of the household, Helena Joshua, spoke. We have decided to raise that child in a small house, out of sight. In the meeting room, someone spoke up. It seems Iraq has removed the magical power that was consuming the divine tree. But the elders seemed not to believe it. What? I knew there was magical power on the divine tree, but a newborn baby was able to remove it? Isn't that the only logical explanation? How could the boy create a physical form from magical power? The elderly man with glasses also offered some remarks. It's true that this exorcism method could be effective, but it's certainly not that simple. If anything goes wrong, it could kill the tree. They continued to discuss back and forth. The head of the household chose the stable purification method, and there must be a reason for that. Gowl's face darkened as he listened. What the hell are they babbling about? How could a newborn baby possibly do that? Riley declared with utmost conviction. Yurik must have instinctively exorcised the mana. Yurik, hearing this, nodded smugly. That's right. I'm sure of it. This baby is probably still breastfeeding, yet he managed to do something that no one in the Central Church has been able to do. In the past 75 years, Gowl, on the opposite side, broke out in a cold sweat. What nonsense is this guy spouting? He slammed his hand on the table, trying to sway public opinion. Esteemed elders, surely you don't believe this absurd story? Geol vehemently refuted Isaac. A newborn baby knows nothing about exorcism. It can't even speak. If this gets out to the world, we'll become the laughingstock of the entire realm. He gritted his teeth, criticizing Isaac, while the boy remained completely unfazed. Look at him. It's hard to believe he's a descendant of the Josian lineage. Who knows? Maybe he's the child of some ordinary family. Hearing this, Hale resolutely spoke up in defense. Respected elders, please hear me out. This child will become a saint. He even placed his hand on Isaac's shoulder. Surely, the boy could even become the next pope. Isaac wholeheartedly agreed. Indeed. However, Riley's next words made Isaac frown. The boy will destroy the Skull Demon King, he thought to himself. What the hell? You've been doing so well until now. The elders present also became flustered. Upon hearing that name, Skull Demon King, that damned devil, Hannah smirked. You're setting yourself up for failure, Riley. She then issued a challenge. If you're so confident, perhaps we should test the boy. Hannah set the condition. I request the use of the achievement relic treasure. The scene then shifts to the northwest region of the Holy Holland Empire, the Dark Forest. A monster is finished off by a sharp sword. Riley stands proudly amidst the fallen monsters. He sheathed his sword and spoke slowly. This place is truly chaotic. The knight behind him bowed respectfully. I agree with Julia. I also concur with your assessment. He asked curiously, what's going on? She respectfully reported. Your representative has requested to see the treasure trove of achievement relics. Hearing this, Eli's displeasure was evident. I told you already. The Holy See is not allowed to touch it. The knight quickly added. It's not the Holy See, sir. Her next sentence made him turn around. Your grandson has revived the divine tree. The representative wants to see whether the boy has the qualities of a saint. Eli immediately turned back and asked, "What do you mean?" He pressed her again. "How could a saint appear in our family? As the patriarch of the Josian clan?" "I Josian? Command it." "Absolutely not. Only saints can survive entering that place. Tell them to avoid any unnecessary conflict." Julia emphasized no exceptions. But then a voice suddenly interjected. "Let them proceed." Melissa slowly approached, asking, "Knight, are you talking about Isaac?" She smiled slightly, marveling. "The divine tree of resurrection. Isn't it amazing?" Melissa then said something that stunned the knight. "Since we're opening the treasure vault, why not let all the candidates, the saintess and the saints, enter?" The knight was taken aback. Pardon? She was actually quite looking forward to this. However, could a child from another family actually obtain something good from the treasure vault? "I certainly hope so." Melissa mentions the sacred son. Even the most exceptional saints of past eras couldn't retrieve anything from that treasury. Perhaps if someone could retrieve that treasure, they could track down and finally eliminate the Demon King. The Skull Girl excitedly suggests. "Then, shall we offer a reward for this?" Melissa orders the knight. "Tell them this. The child who brings back the most precious treasure in the vault will receive a reward that not even the Pope can possess." Her words leave even the knight in awe. They will inherit the legacy of the Zozier family. Melissa raises her hand in a gesture. "And I will personally teach them the secret arts of the family." She's impassioned, clenching her fist and saying, "We will give them everything." The Sacred Relic Treasury is a place that holds a secret art from thousands of years ago, along with sacred treasures. A saintess always guards the hidden treasury, and the Zozier family is said to be the keeper of this treasure, because only children under the age of 10 can enter. The treasury is used as a traditional rite for saintess candidates. When they turn 1 year old, they will enter and choose an item. People will predict the future saintess's abilities based on the item the child brings out. However, the treasury is so dangerous that even saintess candidates have to risk their lives. After many tragic deaths, the treasury was sealed. Whisper then spoke up. "Let's see." It cunningly coaxed. "Will our young master be able to survive and bring back a treasure?" Isaac immediately protested. "Baba, why are you telling this story?" It then asked him, "You are also looking forward to it, aren't you?" "Master Isaac," Babo admits that it's only natural. His face turned strange. "It's rumored that the remains of the Skull Demon King lie within." Suddenly, a hand lifted Isaac up. "Young master, are you excited?" The blonde knight then recounted to him. The matriarch has opened the vault to all candidates. Isaac then calculated everything. The young man continued to praise him for a while, and then continued. "All the children of the 5 noble families will be present. Even the cursed family of the Pope will be there. I am sure you will win." The attendant beside him whispered, "Oh, it seems they are making a big deal out of this." Isaac lay motionless for a moment, contemplating. "This is good. The more people there are, the easier it is to spread out. It will be easier for me to reclaim my body." Another hand lifted Isaac. "You must be careful." Isaac Rylite lifted him up, instructing him. "Demons captured from the battlefield will be guarding the inside." Isaac estimated. "Is it dangerous because demons are guarding the place?" He smiled inwardly. "But I'm sure. They're all level 6 or weaker. If Isaac decides, we just need to use domination and..." Before he could finish his calculations, Jayam Rilke cut him off. "A level 8 demon. That's definitely not an easy opponent." He exclaimed, "What the hell? What's a level 8 demon doing in there?" The golden-haired knight continued. "Although the level 9 dragon is probably the worst thing, Rylite believed that, if judged solely by level, he couldn't help but mutter. The entire Yangwa family must have gone completely insane. A dragon in a place where a bunch of kids will go." It seemed hesitant. "But at least you know a lot about dragons, master." But Igraine didn't flinch, showing no fear whatsoever. "What now?" he cursed inwardly. "Damn it, this dragon is dangerous in a completely different way." Igraine confessed. "I've tricked them a few times." It muttered, its tone full of self-satisfaction. "That bastard managed to outsmart some young dragons." Images of the argument between the dragons flooded back. They kept interrogating him. "What kind of devilish things did you sell to those brats? They're not even 300 years old yet. The old man's been caught too." "That bull monster?" "No, it was more like 17 of them." Isaac recalled, furious. "It's so frustrating. They even have superhuman memory. They can recognize my soul." It whispered again, as if to encourage him. Perhaps it's time for me to change masters. Hearing that, Isaac snapped. I can hear everything. He placed both hands down. A momentous decision, with no turning back. Isaac recalled, in the treasure trove filled with relics and artifacts, there was a level 6 ghost and a level 9 dragon. Right now, I'm only strong enough to deal with level 6 ghosts. The young man thought about the glowing mana in the mansion, determined to defeat them. I need to seize all of it. The mana cores of the Jitsu family. Isaac ordered Whisper to the annex building. Taking advantage of the clear weather, he and Whisper read the book together, sitting in front of the doorway. He carefully turned the pages, studying. Whisper was filled with worry. Whisper approached him cautiously. Master, are you all right? You look like you're about to be purified. He held the book of incantations. 10 ways to dismember the Bone King. After reading it, his face turned pale, his spirit broken. His face contorted, he thought to himself, damn it, if only I could control divine power. Learning these spells would be a piece of cake. Why does it feel more discouraging the more I read? Note, Kimarak is still unweaned. Then he came up with another idea. Just control his mind, then force him to teach me. And it's done. As if suddenly realizing something, Whisper was overjoyed, grinning and flattering his master. You want to use dark magic among the priests? Are you planning to level this place? And then play the role of a cool demon? He looked at it in panic, wondering, what happened to your personality in the last 15 seconds? Whisper continued to jump around joyfully, while he buried his face, exhausted and weary. I can't understand any of this theory. The little boy yawned widely, showing his sleepiness. Kylet Reeford quickly reached out to pick him up. You look so tired. She hugged him close, gently comforting him. I bet you've had a very long, hard day. At this point, the boy's eyes were drooping with sleepiness. He could fall asleep at any moment. A whispered voice reached his ears. In his heart, the boy thought, that's right. Kids my age need 16 hours of sleep a day to be healthy. Rylite Rochester carried him to the bedroom. The golden-haired knight saw the book. He picked it up, a questioning look on his face. Rylite Rochester didn't say anything. He just extended his hand in front of the boy. Then he cast a recovery spell, instantly restoring the boy's energy. The boy grinned widely, exclaiming, oh, this is a magic spell. So, excited, he tried to climb out, wanting to ask for another one. For the next skill, please cast an attack spell, Master. Whisper flew closer and gently advised him. Please stay put. Then, Whisper added, you need to get to the annex building as soon as possible. You can't hide everyone here forever, can you? As if struck by lightning, his eyes widened in surprise. That's right, the annex building. I have to get rid of these people as soon as possible. So, in front of the two, he deliberately put on a show. But seeing his act, Whisper felt disheartened. Such terrible acting. Who would believe this? But it did catch the attention of the other two. The blonde knight, seeing the scene, rubbed his nose and smiled brightly. Lord Ajin, sleep comes quickly. Meanwhile, Elder Zozier felt happy and honored. Such a wonderful child. He's quick at everything he does. Whisper was astonished. Did we really fool them? They completely believed it. So, to keep the peace, the two agreed to go outside since it was getting late. Shall we go outside? Yes, I need to go train anyway. The plan was a resounding success. The guy lay there, chuckling with glee. Whisper could only sigh. Amazing, really. Everything was calm and peaceful. Then someone suddenly spoke up. But the totem seems very dangerous. I think we should take it outside. This jolted the guy awake. His eyes flew wide open. Rise, and Exijao burst through the door, declaring it a treasure. The first totem belonging to Ionia, and that its safety must be absolutely guaranteed. The blonde knight smiled and obeyed. Yes, sir. The guy, meanwhile, was scared out of his wits. I still need to restore it? Who said you could take it away? At this, Jar Zozier added, I'll display it in the most prominent place, making you weep miserably, helplessly clinging to your treasure. You haven't even extracted the mana from it yet. But I already have a plan. The subordinate climbed up, looking ahead with glee. In that case, I'll drain the mana core in the annex building. Let's go. With his tiny body, he struggled to climb out, trying to escape this place. Whisper shook her head in exasperation. Are you really planning to crawl to that annex building? Will you even make it there today? He asserted, I have a way. Open the door for me. Whisper flew over. Yes, of course, as you command. But don't even think about me carrying you there. Flying over to check, Whisper exclaimed, your boss has locked the door. The locking system is all on the outside. He even cast a spell on it. He had just climbed up, before his butt even touched the ground. He was so shocked he cursed under his breath. That hateful master. So, in the quiet space, he ordered the door to be broken. But Whisper responded, "They'll think you're under attack and swarm in here." That idea was squashed, and he could only grit his teeth and curse. Damn it. He punched the door in frustration. His face contorted. He tried to yank the door open with his small body. "I'm going crazy. I can't stand this buzzing chatter anymore. If I use magic, things will only get worse." Whisper witnessed the scene and couldn't help but chuckle. How do I get out of here? While he was thinking, the door suddenly swung open, causing him to get hurt unexpectedly. He exclaimed, "Hey," making Shuri Jojer startled and cry out, "Ah!" He flung open the door and found the baby lying sprawled on the floor. Witnessing the scene, Suri Joshua was filled with suspicion. This brat can't even walk yet. But this is the son of Gaul Joshua, a candidate for the holy blessing from the Joshua family. 5-year-old Suri Joshua. At this moment, he took a closer look and realized this kid is definitely his enemy. But he was horrified to discover the blood. This made him exclaim in fury, "He dared to harm my master." 5-year-old Suri Joshua lay there, grinding his teeth, his hand tightly clutching a precious treasure. If a genius like me couldn't create it, how could this little brat possibly do it? In Suri Joshua's hand, power was gradually gathering. Witnessing that scene, he cried out in delight. Suri Joshua looked at the baby with a sinister smile. "I am the one who deserves to be canonized. You dare to steal what belongs to me." Holding ultimate power in his hands, he felt only a surge of contempt. He then used his fingertips to control his favorite toy. "This is how I escaped from that arrogant Joshua." Haughty and arrogant. Lost in his imagination, he was in the playroom. He launched the toy straight at CO Joshua's head, knocking him backwards. He watched the scene, utterly delighted. Pointing forward, he commanded, "Dia, find me a horse to ride." CO Joshua, now with tears streaming down his face, covered his face and yelled angrily, "Do you even know who I am?" Of course, with that appearance, he recognized him immediately. "You look exactly like that old thug. You must be his son," he muttered, a smirk playing on his lips. Now, holding the toy, a sinister smile spread across his face. "I see you're gathering mana to attack me. You damn bastard. Serves you right." He then used his power to control, causing the toy to relentlessly attack CO Juhian. The boy could only curl up to protect himself. I whispered praise, witnessing the scene. A magnificent strike master. Encouraged by the praise, he attacked even more ferociously. "You brat, prepare to be my horse." Right. Unable to endure any longer, CO Juhian focused all his strength into his hand. He deployed the shield on his hand for defense. Although tears were falling, his action surprised his attacker. "Do you think you're so much better than everyone else?" The boy heard the question. He just smiled faintly and replied indifferently, "Yeah," which was enough to infuriate CO Juhian. Surprised about what? At my age, no one has ever used a level 3 defensive divine power. I'll make you admit defeat. CO Juhian will open your eyes. You're surprised too early. He looked up at the sky, unleashing a level 3 holy light attack. He calmly observed, showing no surprise. Meanwhile, CO Juhian was incredibly smug, thinking he had surpassed Kim Daksha. "Take this." The attack was aimed directly at him. He just looked up and complimented it. "Impressive. Wow, you summoned 2 streams of holy light? But that power is like a mosquito bite." He smirked and said, "Stay for the meal." Then he used his power to neutralize the attack, leaving CO Juhian utterly astonished. He could only stare helplessly and exclaim, "How can a defensive spell be so strong? To this extent?" He laughed and joked, making CO Juhian feel even more helpless and desperate. "How can you use this technique when I haven't even taught it to him yet?" The power is now fully in my hands. While CO Isu is anxiously looking around, wondering about his fate, he breaks into a wide grin and exclaims, "Ah, thank you, my friend, for showing me the way. A tremendous power is approaching." CO Isu witnesses it in disbelief. "Impossible." He then raises his hand, pointing directly at CO Isu with a sinister look, causing him to panic terribly. Stepping back, he cries out, "Wait!" But it's too late. A desperate scream rings out, and he, witnessing the scene, grins from ear to ear. Seeing him like that, he can only think silently, at a loss for words. He can only approach and sigh. This entire Yangwall clan must be completely insane. Locking a dragon in a place full of babies like this. It's completely out of place. He can no longer smile, his face now etched with weariness. But, Master, at least you're quite knowledgeable about dragons. Suddenly, in the middle of his enthusiastic storytelling, he looks down and whispers. He wonders curiously, what's happened now? He anxiously bites his nails nonstop. Sweat pours down like he's showering. Damn it, come to think of it, dragons are truly dangerous. I've been outsmarting them for a long time. Hearing this, Whisper asks again, how many of them did you trick? He suddenly remembers the chaotic scene from back then, when the dragons were publicly shaming him. That bastard tricked all the young dragons. What the hell did you sell to those kids? They're not even 300 years old yet. Even many adult dragons were fooled by that bony guy. So, he counts them one by one, and then reaches a final conclusion. About 70 of them. What about it? That enormous number sends him into a complete panic. Damn it. They're relentless like hungry leeches. They'll notice that my soul has disappeared. In contrast, he whispered, finally a plan comes to mind. So there's no need for sorrow or despair. Isn't this a great opportunity to switch places with the master? Hearing this, he could only grit his teeth, muttering to himself. I can hear everything, you know. At this point, there's no turning back. So, he decides to take a gamble. He transformed into a totem, and he placed his hand on it. Then he looked down at Seo Suryong with a contemptuous gaze. He shouted, Dia, what do you think you're doing? With overwhelming power, he looked down at Seo Jaehyun with a majestic and imposing demeanor. He commanded, get out, you Scarface. Carry me at once. In the evening, he goes out. He is Seo Jaehyun. He's barely hanging on, enduring something terrible. In the future, he will become a saint. He will break free from the curse of the Zosier family. He'll escape their shackles and become the Pope. But his trials have only just begun, as he struggles to stay upright, using every ounce of his strength, digging his feet into the ground to resist, and carrying Kim Rak on his back. The more delighted Kim Rak becomes, the more exhausted he grows. This devilish brat is, with a sly look on his face, shaking his toy and ordering, yes, yes, to the annex building. He doesn't understand anything. Feeling utterly drained, he snaps. How dare you do this? Do you even know who I am? Before he can finish his sentence, a shrill voice threatens him, turning his face pale. Not daring to utter another word, he hurries to move before he's torn to pieces. You lowly insect. He's grown so tired of witnessing this scene that he shows no emotion. Then he nods in agreement. Yeah, just focus on surviving and getting out of here first. Meanwhile, Seori Jo Seori is so terrified that she bursts into tears. Somebody help me. So, in the quiet of the night, only the sound of da can be heard. Da, left, you're being too aggressive. And Seori Jo Seori stumbles, almost falling. He pants heavily, carrying a heavy burden on his head. Meanwhile, Kim Iraq just bends down, taps his toy, and yells, Daha, do you want to die? Wake up. Seori Jo Seori is just confused by this erratic behavior. Where do you think you're going in the middle of the night? The rustling wind makes Seori Jo Seori freeze, afraid to take another step. Looking ahead, his face turns pale. Ahead, there was nothing but the second annex of the Joshua family. Suri Joshua, terrified, screamed, the haunted house. Whisper, witnessing the scene, burst into laughter. He appeared completely calm, trying to probe the mystery. Only Suri Joshua was so scared that his jaw dropped. Why did this lunatic drag me here? Many people died here, so the head of the family strictly forbade anyone from coming near. The two laughed gleefully as they were about to carry out their scheme. Whisper then whispered, excellent. Looks like there are at least a dozen here. You must have painstakingly trained for 15 years to accumulate this much mana. The building in front of them glittered like jewels. Kim Iraq grew even more excited. He pointed forward and commanded, let's go. The kid, Suri Joshua, seeing him pleading constantly, understood that he wanted to rush inside. No, we can't go in there. The adults told us we're not allowed. Before he could finish, Tam appeared menacingly, silencing the boy instantly. Shut up and get lost, kid. The ancient house glowed with a faint, flickering light. Two tiny figures whispered as they sneaked into the annex. Kim Yairok's voice echoed everywhere, while he dragged his feet, trembling with fear. The house was dilapidated and crumbling. He sighed, disheartened by the sight. Inside, it was even worse. You must be exhausted from all this. Haven't you had a chance to rest? After looking around for a moment, he noticed something strange and thought, wait, that's Tam. Check it out and report back to me. The entire building has been sealed, master. Every door here has something, like a protective barrier. Hearing this, he flopped down wearily. Co Yuri poured some wine, letting out a heavy sigh. What a pain! You were already tired, and now you're even more exhausted and shaky, fearful and weary. Sayori looks at Joshua with pleading eyes. Let's go back. Everything in here is sealed anyway. Suddenly, he grabs Sayori's shoulders tightly and shouts. Her eyes widen in terror, and she cries out, "Ah, what is it? Let go." She was trying to convince her brother to stop, but when she looked towards stop, Jinwoo was trying to dissuade his younger brother from attacking. But when he looked ahead, he suddenly froze. Witnessing the scene before him, he stood rooted to the spot in astonishment. The portraits of the previous family heads, as if understanding Kim Yura's thoughts. Since you were little, I've been telling you to give up that idea. Are you still dreaming of becoming the family head? But it's useless. I will be the successor. That arrogant attitude. He didn't bother arguing, but just used his powers to control a few objects. Random trinkets, throwing one, shattering a picture frame. Suri Joshua witnessed this scene with wide eyes. She screamed in panic. Our ancestors. He didn't seem to hear, and continued to control objects, smashing everything to pieces. Suri Joshua couldn't believe her eyes, clutching her head in disbelief. Hey, are you crazy? What are you doing with the portraits of the family heads? Just as he predicted, after destroying all the portraits, he put away his toy, and his face lit up with excitement. Strange, why would someone put a barrier on a portrait? After a quick check, he exclaimed joyfully, the barrier has been broken. The owner was equally thrilled. Excellent. So he transformed into a cat and rushed off to uncover the truth. Let's go. In contrast to his gleeful expression, Suri and Joshua were extremely worried. Hey, where do you think you're going? Not only did he dash off, but he also rolled away like a fur ball, leaving Suri and Joshua baffled. Hey, are you crazy? After causing all this trouble, where are you going? Lotta flung the door wide open. Inside were all the things he was looking for. He smiled broadly and exclaimed, wow, amazing. There's one more thing I'll take care of right now. With that, he cast a spell and closed the door. The door slowly shut. Sayori, worried, runs forward. Stop it right now. What do you think you're doing? A look of disdain is clearly visible on his face. He thinks to himself, a little brat like you doesn't need to know about this. After finishing, he sits up straight and lets out a long sigh. Phew, let's begin. Around him now, mystical blue smoke like spiritual energy emanates. His eyes suddenly light up. Outside, Sayori is extremely anxious. She screams and bangs on the door repeatedly. Get out of there. Hurry, I'm going to tell the adults everything. I'll tell them everything and get you kicked out of here. While she's banging on the door furiously, someone suddenly approaches Sayori. That familiar voice makes the boy inside terrified. He breaks out in a cold sweat. Ryeryoung, what are you doing here? Hearing this, the boy immediately turns around and began listing all the wrongs Kim Iraq had done to him. You came at just the right time, Iraq, that little devil. But before he could finish, someone shouted from behind. What do you think you're doing, Sayori? Whatever the reason, you know you're forbidden from entering this building. As someone from the Branch family, what were you thinking bringing Iraq here? Hearing this, the boy, confused, just chuckled and asked. So, in other people's memories, Kim Iraq has become a pitiful figure who cried miserably when I, the villain, carried him away. The onlookers started whispering among themselves. She then said, do you realize how many people saw you carrying Iraq here? On your back. Furthermore, there are traces of a holy magic attack in Iraq's room. You will be held responsible for all of this. Those accusations made the boy cower, defending himself in fear. It wasn't me. I just brought him here. And while some of the attack magic was mine, but Haile Jesha gently placed a hand on Suri Jiashu's shoulder and calmly advised Suri, you've crossed the line this time. After all, you bullied a baby who's still nursing. You locked Isaac in here. Hearing that, he panicked even more, unable to muster a smile. I didn't lock him in. Isaac went in there himself. Suddenly, a noise came from inside, startling everyone. Rayleigh Losh approached the door and called out, Isaac, are you in there? Why is the door locked? Oh dear. When Rayleigh Jisham managed to open the door, his face was contorted in a grimace. The little boy was wailing loudly, making Lee Seol scream in terror. Isaac, she watched the heartbreaking scene and felt pity. Are you okay, Isaac? Oh my, he looks so scared. Seo Josu was bewildered, not knowing what to do. Lee Seol gently stroked his head. It's good that you're all right. The boy seemed terrified, but nothing seemed to have happened. He buried his face in her arms, sobbing uncontrollably. Seo Josu looked at him with furious eyes, then hugged him and left. not forgetting to scold Suri. You should be ashamed of yourself, without looking back, making the boy feel hurt. He could only stammer, "No, it's not like that. Really, At this moment, he exclaimed, "Thank you," making Co. Joseph confused. Then, a cruel face, a sinister smile appeared. "Thanks to you, I had a delicious meal." Suri, witnessing the scene, fell back in horror. This injustice can never be washed away. That villain torments her endlessly. Thinking carefully, Suri also has many suspicious points. So they wonder why. Why does the boy look like he's been burned? Isn't it because it's too cold? How could a child? He held the flame in his hand, his face filled with joy. The harvest was much greater than expected. In just one go, I've absorbed an amount of mana, equivalent to 100 years of arduous cultivation. He clenched the flame tightly. With this much mana, I can finally carry out my long-held scheme. He laughed maniacally, his face contorted into a terrifying grimace. But Kirio simply thought, "It seems a rock is truly terrified." The quiet morning passed by. He was engrossed in his research, muttering to himself. Suddenly a voice rang out. "Isaac, I'd like to introduce someone to you." Joshua introduced kindly. "This is Ashley. From now on, she will be your assistant." The elegant lady placed her hand on her chest, then briefly introduced herself. "My name is Ashley Larch, a holy knight of the Zozier family." After introducing herself, she knelt and swore an oath. "I will serve you until death." He thought he should feel relieved, but he only felt weary. After a moment of consideration, he pondered. Did they send someone to monitor me because of what happened last time? So he used his small body to point at her and threatened. You there?" making her bewildered. He then put his hand on his head, grimaced, and tried to scare her. "You do go away. Get out of my sight." The other two didn't understand anything. Witnessing that scene, everyone was confused, thinking he had successfully conveyed his thoughts. Assel hurried over, calling out to young Master Blank. Assel, blushing furiously, shyly asked, "May I pinch the young master's cheek?" Joshua stood behind, pleased to see the two getting along so well. He, on the other hand, could only sigh in exasperation. Why is everyone in this house so weird? Riley took something out of his pocket and said, Irad, this is your gift. It's so shiny like it's made of pure silver, and it even smells nice. He looked at the gift with a puzzled expression. Did you pick this up from a garbage dump? He thought to himself, I'm speechless. I thought I misheard. But it seems the Joshua family is really facing a financial crisis. How can he call this thing a gift? Is it worthy of the young master's first birthday? While he was muttering his complaints, Assel saw it, his eyes and mouth wide open in surprise. Oh my, could this be the Sainus' heirloom? Hearing this, the boy looked skeptical. He picked it up to examine it, questioning, the Sainus' heirloom? Bylight Jesherin patted the boy's head and explained, your uncle took it from the council for you. After inspecting it, the boy realized it was genuine. This is the ring that the Sainus used in the battle against me. This ancient ring contains a bit of divine power. The boy held it up, and it instantly emitted a shimmering golden-white mist of divine power. Amazing! The boy held the ring with a cunning look on his face. It looks like it'll break after just 1 or 2 uses, but I have a way to fix it. The boy glanced to the side. Goel Joshua was leaning against a tree, his face filled with fury. He glared at the boy, further confirming his suspicions. That guy's expression proves it's definitely real. He stared daggers at his little nephew, as if he wanted to eat him alive. Gel Josue's sudden approach made him fluster. Aha, my dear little nephew. Isaac tried to force a smile to please his beloved nephew, but it looked strained and fake. How adorable you are. I hope you are comfortable here. But ever since he came close, he felt uneasy and startled. He screamed internally, damn it, this is disgusting. He whispered to himself, his face unable to hide his anxiety. Maybe he's crazy. Inside, the man was also a mess. Damn it, everything is so complicated. I destroyed the blessing device in the relic storage so that he couldn't receive the blessing. But unexpectedly, they used the Sainus' family heirloom as a replacement like this. The old woman then handed the ring to Line Josue and said, because Isaac didn't receive the blessing, that's why I must bestow this upon that child. Goul Jir, hearing this, was utterly shocked. The Sainus' family heirloom? He pointed emphatically at himself, shouting, give it to my child. She looked at Goul Jir and asked, give it to Siori? Then she sighed and waved her hand dismissively. Hasn't she already received the blessing of the Holy See? Don't be greedy. Go back now. He remembered the past, gritting his teeth in anger. I planned to pretend to donate to the Holy See, and then seize the opportunity to take it. They could never understand the true value of this family heirloom. He pretended to adjust his clothes, complaining, "It's too tight. If you were going to choose a gift, you should have chosen something better. That thing is so useless." Riley Roshu, hearing this, became furious. "Useless? You! How dare you speak of the Sanus's item like that?" He smirked maliciously, looking at Rosalie Jeer, and took out another ring box, advising Isaac, his beloved nephew. "How could you give this useless thing to the boy?" As he spoke, he opened the ring box, revealing a dazzling, bright light. "This ring has been blessed directly by the Holy See. Among treasures, this will definitely be worth much more. This is a priceless treasure that Velen Zozier could never possess." Velen Zozier, hearing this, could only stand silently, speechless. Gowel Joshua then held out the ring box enticingly. "Oh, isn't it? Right? Now, give me that old, dirty ring." He spoke disparagingly and then threw the box directly at Gowel Joshua, making him bleed, not forgetting to shout, "Did I get out?" He took Gowel Joshua's ring box, closed it, and said to Dada, "Trash! Doesn't this thing reek of the Pope's stench?" To Gowel Josiah's utter astonishment, he throws the ring box into the air. "Ha ha ha! Get out of here!" The carelessly discarded ring makes him cry out, "Oh!" Then he hurriedly orders the others, "What are you waiting for? Go find the ring." He glances over and sees Giselle Josio staring at him intently. "That ring is worth 1,000 times more than what I gave you, and yet you chose my gift?" He then holds the ring in his hand, smiling brightly. Riley Rostar reaches out to him, overjoyed. "Isaac, my beloved grandson." Then Riley Rostar and Ashley joyfully toss him in the air. "From now on, you'll have the best of everything. Hooray for young Master Isaac." Meanwhile, the ring is being retrieved. Someone laments, "It's too deep." Young Master, but Kowal Chosio stood aside, urging them to search by any means necessary, to save him at all costs. While he was free, Kowal Chosio rejoiced inwardly. "I've already used the wait technique. There's no way they'll find him." Whisper, hearing this, happily praised him, as expected of the master. "Decisive. I would never touch your excellency's smelly thing. Truly admirable." But before he could fully enjoy his laughter, he said, "Pick it up tomorrow," making Whisper stunned. "Me?" He then asked back, "Do you think it's me?" Whisper stammered. He then explained, "That thing is very valuable. I'm going to sell it." The man had now disappeared. The ring clutched its head and screamed, "UV double." Kowal Chosio, in his room, angrily slammed his fist on the table. "That darn brat." He hung his head low, sighing dejectedly. He doesn't know how precious that thing is. In this situation, he had no choice but to surrender helplessly and let it go, waving his hand dismissively. Whatever, he probably doesn't even know how to use that ancient ring. In front of him at this moment, that person could only remain silent, looking awkwardly at Gogeology Josie and talking about the Sanus's ring. That item can only be used by those who cannot use divine magic. It requires absorbing the divine power of at least 20 people to activate. This is impossible. A calculating look gradually appeared on his face. He smirked, wondering, "I wonder if even 10 people will attend his birthday?" And then dawn broke the next morning. People are bustling about, their cheerful chatter filling the air. Ashley, holding the boy in her arms, looks outside, utterly amazed. Incredible! There are over 148 Sanus candidates, including both nobles and commoners. I estimate around 4,000 people are present today. All the ducal families are here in full force, and dozens of marquis families as well. His Majesty the Emperor himself has graced us with his presence. Even neighboring countries have sent their Sanus candidates to participate. It's extraordinary. Ashley hugs the little boy, but the more excited she gets, the frilier the boy seems to become. He's barely breathing, making Whispers look on in dismay. Witnessing this, the boy thinks to himself wearily, "Why are there so many Sanus candidates? Are those lazy gods guiding them all over the place again?" Whispers observes everything and simply replies, "That does sound like something they do." Rylite Zozier, standing nearby, also finds it strange. She ponders thoughtfully. "I didn't expect this. I thought no one would come, thinking it was a trap." Of course, they wouldn't think it's a trap. Just as my friend finished speaking, the doors suddenly burst open. "Long time no see, Rylite. This is the leader of one of the 3 largest merchant guilds in the empire, and Grid's closest friend, Baron Simon." This sudden appearance surprised even grid. Simon, you came too? Simon smiled brightly, delivering the good news. The rumor has spread throughout the entire empire. So, of course, I had to come. Everyone knows it's not a trap, so they decided to participate. Anyway, those spoiled young masters from the Zozier family are all here. Huh? Hearing that, both Gillis Rockefort and Assel nodded slightly in agreement. Simon smiled cheerfully and continued. Not to mention the things that the head of the Rockefort family has bet. How could we possibly miss it? Even the papal family will surely come. Hearing that, he felt a little less tired and slowly turned his head back, listening with curiosity. What did she bet? Highlight. Rockefort, of course, didn't believe that ridiculous story and replied, "Don't be ridiculous. There's no way the papal family would participate." Simon could only sigh and joke. Guess what? No way. Those aloof royals, showing up in the territory of the Rockefort family, they hate this place because there are too many commoners, except for the Belliard family. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. That's why Gerald Rockefort advised Simon to watch his tongue. But the more he spoke, the more Simon pushed it, ignoring the advice. Why is that? My daughter, Armel, is also a candidate for Saintus. And this event, after all, is organized by the Rockefort family. The papal family has no reason to interfere in this matter. Suddenly, a figure appeared, slowly approaching. The person gradually reached out and opened the door. At this moment, Gerald Rockefort was still trying to reason. You must be careful. Words are wind. Don't take what she says to heart. Her face always looks like she just stepped in shit. He was interrupted by the sound of the door opening. All three of them stared at the door in stunned silence. The person spoke. Our ancestors used to say there's nothing more dangerous than a rude friend. Indeed, the wisdom of the ancients is never wrong. The sudden appearance made Simon turn pale. I never expected to encounter this situation. Simon slowly backed away, avoiding that terrifying pressure. And the head of the Zozier family immediately recognized that it was Cardinal Belial. He looked inside, chuckling gleefully. Then he said to all three of them, "How ridiculous the weak man of the Zozier family dared to organize such a grand event. I hope your child will find something from the Holy Relic Repository to salvage some honor for the family. I'm very curious to see the Roxanne child, rumored to be a saint candidate. And yet, I have yet to see her." As soon as she noticed his gaze, Aisley clung tightly to him. He laughed smugly and continued. "But anyway, this is an opportunity for you." Placing his hand on his chest, a terrifying pressure emanated from his entire body. "I sincerely pray that the saint candidate will bring glory to your family." At this moment, Riley Zozier couldn't hide his shock. This is a conspiracy, a deceptive scheme orchestrated by the Holy See. Dozens of people wearing black cloaks, with burning golden eyes. The number of saint candidates surged from 25 to 148 in just 1 week. This is highly unusual. The only explanation is the Holy See is deliberately ignoring the mysterious appearance of these saint candidates. No one knows where they came from. However, their fate always ends in bloodshed on the magic circle. Everyone wishes for their child to become a saint candidate. But once the children are brought into the relic, they won't be able to avoid eliminating weaker opponents. Riley Zozier clenched his fists, his heart filled with anxiety. They might even harm him in this chaos. If that happens, look at him with concern. Iraq will be in grave danger. Violet Rockefort is extremely anxious, but he doesn't care. Life goes on, and he's oblivious to what's happened. The holy statue, the symbol of the Zozier family, suddenly emits a brilliant light. A child of the Zozier lineage, the aura radiating from the divine statue. Except for its outstanding appearance and the family's reputation, it has absolutely no power. The statue depicts a child who only knows how to hide and fall asleep amidst the tense atmosphere. However, for those who crave the superior bloodline of the Zozier house, or those who desire the family's favor, the Pope, those who hate the bloodline of the Saintus, countless hands reach out to touch that glorious light. That child of Zozier is like easy prey. At this moment, a mysterious person presents a vial and commands, "So, go and give this Zozier kid a little trouble. Keep him alive, but unable to do anything more." The child received the vial and carried out that momentous mission. The mission was to mix this potion into his water, and using the holy poison, make the boy taste the cruelty of this world. However, countless bottles were piled up on the floor, make him the laughingstock of the world, to the astonishment of all who witnessed, and declare to the whole world that The kid, Josier, will never be able to become a saint. He picked up each vial and gulped it down, so that when he was done with the remaining bottles, after drinking, he wiped his mouth with satisfaction, laughing heartily. Delicious! He was still gloating. When he finished, the others were scared to death. Oh my God! I'm scared. How many bottles did he drink? The one who entrusted the task just remained silent. He hurls the vial forward, then commands Daha. Bring more! This poison can't kill me. It only injures people. He shakes the vial violently, shouting at Doha. Give me more! Let's make them shit their pants. The person poisoned earlier cries, I want to go home. Those witnessing the scene are utterly terrified. Two people whisper to each other. What's wrong with that kid? I thought you put poison in it. Did you grab the wrong bottle? That's strange. I don't think so. Anyway, let's go. While they're still hesitating, someone suddenly covers their face and laments. Why does he keep drinking those poison bottles? Sigh, it's so embarrassing. Don't disgrace the name of Zozier. Is a saint candidate supposed to act like this? While he's casually drinking, he decisively snatches the vials from his hand and shouts, Hey, stop drinking. Are you parched or something? You made me spit out all my water. Siori and Joshua suddenly held out the bottle. It made my eyes itch. If you want to drink, then drink. Before he could finish, Siori and Joshua were hit in the face with the bottle he threw. Yeah, Diane Hannah, it's not poison. He collapsed to the floor, and he grabbed someone else's clothes, demanding the bottle. Everyone was bewildered. Dada, give it here. Give me the super poison, making the other person exclaim. Why is he so energetic? But this is holy poison. Hearing that, someone jumped in fright, quickly stopping him. Are you crazy? You'll die if you drink this. Hearing this, he panicked. Holy poison. Without a second thought, he sprang up, eyes gleaming, demanding the bottle filled with poison. Wahaha! Give it to me! Give it to me! His actions shocked those watching, causing them to exclaim in fear. Without hesitation, he jumped into a brawl with the others, snatching the vial from the outsider's hand. This sparked a flurry of whispers among the onlookers. It seems he has a very strong immunity to toxins. I heard that a person can reach a state of naturally controlling toxins during the cultivation of divine power. What? You mean he's already reached that level? But why is he only targeting the poison bottle? Could it be that he wants to make sure that others can't drink it because it's too dangerous? While everyone was still buzzing with speculation, Coi Su, seemingly lost in thought, sat alone, quietly pondering. This is ridiculous. A sudden voice startled Coi Su, making her turn around. You mean he's volunteering as a sacrifice? That appearance left everyone utterly astonished. Even Suri and Joshua couldn't believe their eyes and jumped up. They were completely shocked. So you know beheaded? What's he doing here? I never heard anything about the papal family participate. This is the direct descendant of the papal bloodline, Kina Beharit. The other onlookers were also filled with doubt. Wait a minute. Is that really Kina Beharit? But why? The papal family is appearing at the Holy Maiden's treasure? Suddenly, all eyes turned towards Kim Arak, who was gulping down the poison. Victory already belongs to him. It's clear who the winner is. His heart was filled with smug satisfaction. Kina Beharit looked at him, deep in thought. So this is the unremarkable kid, who's destined to become a saint? But that pure hair could also appear in the papal bloodline. Did Balit dye her hair? Recalling the hair colors possessed by this family, Kina Balit realized something, that all the other members of that family had hair the color of poop. After a moment of thought, Kina Balit smiled gently and spoke. People of the papal family, appearing at the saint's treasure. What's so strange about that? The papal family is the head of all clergy. Therefore, the saint's treasure also belongs to our family. Suri Jajui, hearing this, stared intently. Kina Balit held her head high and laughed loudly. I simply came to take what belongs to me. How could you find that strange? But on the contrary, everyone looked at her as if she were insane, not some run-of-the-mill kind. He looks at them with nothing but disgust and contempt. With that arrogant way of speaking, he truly is of the papal lineage. Looking at the brilliant golden power surrounding Kina Berlitz, he silently acknowledges it. But that kid is truly a monster. The sheer amount of his holy power already surpasses that of a bishop. The number one saint candidate quietly calculates in his head. While he's feeling despondent, Kina Berlitz harshly criticizes the Zozier family, using such a cheap trick to embarrass the host. It's just, are you using that despicable tactic to shame the householder again? And you dare to call yourself a candidate for sainthood? How shameful. What pride is there in humiliating a child? The audacity to challenge an entire clan like that. Everyone was utterly astonished. Kina Belitz slowly walked towards the boy. How could a child possibly resist this toxin? Then she knelt down, looking at the boy with a bright smile. He must be protected by the saintess's divine power. I only see pity in her heart. His family inherited foolishness. Kina Belitz focused her energy into her palm, intending to purify the boy. How pitiful. It's okay. Let me cure you of the poison. The party attendees were astonished. He can already use the holy art of detoxification. Look at the size of his holy power. It's at least level 5. Truly extraordinary. But these eyes, I see the scheme within them. Oh, what's this little punk planning? Trying to use me to show off? You're a sly one. I'll give you that. But while Kana Birit was busy flaunting his power, the young man delivered a resounding slap, causing the divine power to vanish instantly. While his face was still swollen from the slap, someone noticed and shouted, "The divine power is gone." This shocked Kana Birit immensely. He looked at him. The young man, now gleeful, slipped from his grasp, not forgetting to call out, "Dada!" Kana Birit, still stunned, thought to himself, my divine power was dispelled. Impossible, by a child like him. Is he stronger than me? Kana Birit couldn't believe it. He trembled uncontrollably. His face turned pale. Then he angrily glared at the young man crawling away, a lowly insect of Zojur. Enraged, the young man crushed the vial. He glared menacingly at Kinabalid. "What are you looking at, brat? I'll smash this vial on your—" Before he could finish, Shuri Joestar hugged him tightly. "No, don't do it." A sudden slap landed squarely on Shuri Joestar's face. Witnessing the scene, everyone was shocked and terrified. Is he protecting her because they're family? He slapped the person who was trying to save him? How insolent. Kinabalid could only stand there, stunned. People began to whisper and gossip again, seeing the two of them physically fighting each other. They truly believed they had a chance to stand against the papal family. But does he really think he can protect her? The young man struggled to break free from Shuri Zojur's embrace. "You fools! If it weren't for me, you'd all be starving to death." Kina Blitz, after witnessing this dramatic scene, also showed his amusement. I must have impressed him. He's just a kid after all. Then, the boy waved goodbye to everyone and casually turned to leave, not forgetting to tease. "Goodbye. Good luck, Zojur's little ones. At least, you should try to salvage some honor for your family." Haru and Joshua were trying to restrain Kim Isaac. He was staring furiously at Kina Blitz. The boy simply turned and said, "But obviously, the most precious treasure here will belong to me. What about the Roswa family? They don't even dare to go near the remains of the Skull Demon King, let alone get close." That statement struck him like lightning. The boy walked away, leaving behind a contemptuous smile. Suri Jozor watches Kina Barrett leave. He's just confused and bewildered. What an annoying kid. What the hell is all this fuss about? He's muttering to himself when he's grabbed by the collar. The man yells frantically, "Zaza, what did that damn silver-haired bastard say to you?" Suri Jozor thinks to himself, where did I go wrong with him? Then he screams and resigns himself to his fate. He's relentlessly attacked, interrogated intensely. What did he say? The corpse of the skeleton lord. Suri Jozor rolls on the floor, pleading, "Suddenly, what's wrong with you? Stop dragging me into this." In a state of utter panic, Suri Jozor blurts out what the man has been searching for all along. The master promised to teach the secret technique to whoever brings the corpse of the skeleton lord. He's struck as if by lightning, sweat pouring down his face. His hands fall limp, and he slumps to the floor. "Damn it, Melissa!" He clutches his head, thinking of the skeleton wrapped in silk, indulging in pleasure, yet furious to the point of madness. Are you mocking my very being? The party's over, everyone's chatting away. Shiori Jojur sits in a corner, lost in thought. Meanwhile, he's causing a ruckus, non-stop. After a while, he looks up at the sky, pondering. A fearsome skeleton appears, mirroring his thoughts. I've accumulated a massive amount of mana, equivalent to hundreds of years within this body. If I could just control it, reaching level 10 would be a piece of cake. But these brats are guarding everywhere. How can I possibly extract it? That menacing gaze creates an invisible pressure as he stares at everyone, making them suddenly feel terrified, without understanding why. Shiori Jojur is still anxious and uneasy, sitting perfectly still. Then, he angrily throws the bottle aside. Then he reassures himself. Whatever, I'll just crush anyone who stands in my way. Suddenly, a scream rings out. People gather around, drawing his attention. The elder slowly steps out among the children and begins to speak. We're about to set off. So, from now on, listen to what I have to say. And then he began to tell a story, arousing the curiosity of the children around it. This relic repository is a sacred land. It holds the treasures of the ancient saints. Witnessing the scene, he just feels bored. Here we go with the history lesson again. When are we ever going to get going? Annoyed, he decides to leave, not forgetting to say, I'm out of here. This startles Co. Isu, who hurries after him to stop him. Wait, you. Where do you think you're going? He braces himself, gets into position, and suddenly dashes away. The whirlwind kicked up a blinding cloud of dust, forcing everyone to shield their eyes. The story was suddenly interrupted by this unprecedented, bizarre scene. Suri and Joshua looked ahead and shouted in unison. Elder Isaac is... Isaac, with a gleeful laugh, was speeding forward as if flying. At his extraordinary speed, time to test out the new holy magic I learned. This was all so sudden. But the elder was caught off guard, only able to exclaim, Isaac, no, that's a forbidden area. Stop that fool. And then, before everyone's eyes, Isaac shot off like an arrow and vanished, forcing everyone to chase after him, searching for his whereabouts. At the banquet hall of the Jisoo family, everyone was on edge. Aisali placed her hand on her chest, filled with worry. I hope the young master is safe. Meanwhile, Jilri Jo Seolyong simply looked into the distance, leaning against a pillar, waiting. Just then, an announcement rang out. I've established a connection inside the relic treasury. Spirit beasts are pursuing the third-place candidate. Therefore, we will provide continuous updates. The door to the first relic treasury has been opened, and the candidates are entering. Hearing this, Rylite Rockefort couldn't help but feel anxious. They're already in? Announcements about each candidate were broadcast one by one. The candidate currently in third place, Armand Simon, cheered joyfully. My son, he yelled. In second place is Suri Joshua. The announcement rang out. Completely surprised, Gaul Joshua stammered, huh? Then he replied, that's my son. And in the lead is Yurag Choshur. The announcement about Yurag had just finished when a terrified scream suddenly rang out, surprising the two. It turned out that, with his incredible speed, he had dashed to where the two were. Meanwhile, the poor old man was struggling to keep up, burdened by his age. That was Isaac Joestar. Old and frail, utterly exhausted, gasping for air, he could only utter, Isaac, please don't go there. No. If you continue in that direction, you'll trigger. Before he could finish, his feet accidentally stepped right into a trap. The elder was electrocuted, screaming in place. Suri Joestar, witnessing the scene, could only cry out, elder. One by one, the traps were unintentionally activated by the other children. Not only were their giant axe blades swinging down, but also a series of deafening explosions, causing the children to scream in terror. Mommy, help me. Suri Joestar stopped calling out names and just screamed while using all her might to run for her life. That brat! How dare he barge in there and cause this chaos? The archives trial was already life-threatening enough. Now, we also have to watch out for trap set, for intruders. He just keeps charging forward, despite everyone else's attempts to stop him. Anyway, this is the entrance to storage room number 2. As soon as he reaches the door, an announcement sounds. Trap activated. Breaching the secondary door of storage room number 2. Suri and Jojer scream desperately, trying to stop Isaac. Whisper flies to his side, smiling. Truly extraordinary, master. Thanks to the mana you absorbed in the annex, I've been upgraded. He doesn't forget to congratulate Whisper. Good. Now I can make you work even harder. Hearing this, she can only utter, damn it. Close to success, he commands Whisper. Now go and round them all up. Whisper immediately zooms off. As you command, my lord. Whisper rushes towards the group ahead. Someone was muttering, I didn't expect it to be this hard, when suddenly they were inexplicably lifted into the air. The others, green with envy, started fighting and grabbing. How can he fly? His family must have taught him this technique. It's so unfair. Nobody knows anything. Only the boy, helpless and resigned to his fate, had tears welling up in his eyes. No, you fools. They didn't teach me anything. The boy whispered. As he tied the boy up, he chanted, Suri Zojer, I implore you. The feeling of floating, of being out of control, terrified the boy. Please let me down. He excitedly reported, Master, I've caught the messenger. Then he threw the boy to the ground without mercy. The man sitting there seemed pleased with his appearance. Suri Zojir was thrown so hard he started bleeding. The boy shouted angrily, "Stop this madness. I don't know what to do anymore." Is the first to overcome the challenge of the archive, chosen by destiny. But from the second archive onwards, even a small mistake can cost you your life. You must face your own fears and choose the thorny path to sharpen your senses. Tired of that same old song, he zapped Seo Juhyun to shut him up. Grimacing, he reminded him, "You're too noisy." Seeing him unconscious and charred, he began his journey. "Dakja, come on, explain what's in the second archive." While Seo Juhyun was still conscious, he reminded him, "Once inside the archive, you must never attack the enemy. Do you understand? Don't attack them." He listened without understanding, then pointed back, asking, "What the heck are you talking about? Why shouldn't I be able to hit them?" He just rushes in without knowing the rules, making Joe Seori furious. That's the only way to get through the second archive. No matter what appears, just stand still for 3 minutes until they disappear. Try to understand, or we'll both die. He, on the other hand, looks up at the sky, ignoring everything and trusting only himself. So stubborn. Is he testing my patience? Joe Seori, painfully struggling to sit up, continues. People have actually died from this. He doesn't care, just crawls forward, saying to Yuda, "All right, piece of cake." Crawling to the door, he looks at it and says to Yuda, "Just do nothing, and it's fine. Right, Yuda? 3 minutes is no big deal." So he touches. The door immediately emits a bright golden light, then announces important things. "Welcome to floor B8. Patience is a virtue and a sign of composure. Keep your spirits up and don't waver. Brother, embrace those words with an innocent face, and your patience will lead you to the light." Elsewhere, slow footsteps echo, for children are trying to move deeper inside. At this moment, one anxious child asks, are you sure you're okay? We're at the very back, you know." Kina Barrett firmly asserts, "There's no reason for us to take the dangerous path ahead. All those meat shields can do the work for us. And did you forget that a level 8 demon is standing at the entrance to the second archive? Surely the people ahead will be stuck there." Those words made everyone feel more at ease. Kina Barrett points ahead and says cheerfully, "See, those brilliant golden lights are shining from the end of the road." To their amazement, Kina Balit stared intently at the scene and declared, "The challenge has officially begun." Back with Kim Dakja, the door was almost completely open. Witnessing the spectacle before him, he was stunned. Meanwhile, Uriel was trying to recover her energy. "Don't lose focus." A figure with familiar earrings gradually appeared, and the surprises didn't end there. The curly-haired deity had descended. He bestowed blessings with his teachings. "Your perseverance will illuminate your path to the light." But before he could finish bestowing the blessing, he had already committed a sin by unleashing a blast of electricity before that majestic presence. "Damn it, what the hell is this? It's only been 3 seconds. Enraged, he dragged Uriel into the fray. In this situation, he was utterly terrified. He recalled his confident assertion, 3 minutes won't be a problem. Now he deeply regretted it. He could only curse and scream in despair. He was truly losing his mind. "Speak softly." As he approached to take a closer look, the door suddenly darkened and slammed shut. He clenched his fists, rage building up inside. How can I remain calm after witnessing a god with my own eyes? Whisper, fluttering nearby, agreed. I think 3 seconds was more than enough. The pitch-black door slowly creaked open. Announcement, you have failed. For those who lack patience, an arm covered in tree roots was clinging to the door. Let divine punishment rain down. A gigantic figure appeared before them. The two screamed in terror. Coi Su, at this point, resigned himself to fate, simply waiting for death to approach. I'm done for. Meanwhile, he was gathering power, a bright red light glowing in his palm. Raise your hand, letting those beams concentrate destructive power, then unleashed a deadly blow, piercing the monster's body. It roared in agony. Suri Joshua, before drawing his last breath, gaped in astonishment at the terrifying power. The monster's back was completely pierced by a single blow. His anger temporarily subsided. The boy, however, was still in shock, only able to mutter to himself, what the hell is this? Just one move, and the monster was shattered. Dust and smoke filled the air. He looked at the creature he'd just defeated, then down at the ground. He wondered, this is a level 8? Are you kidding me? While he was fuming over the lack of a worthy opponent, a voice rang out. This golem was created by my subordinates' magic. Those monsters' identities were concealed by the destructive power they emit. Demons, the minions of the Skull King of the 14 relics. This is their special kind of dark magic. Hearing this and seeing the devastation before him, he couldn't help but wonder, what are they doing working for the Joe Sure family? Or does this place have something to do with my physical body? To find the answer, he decided to investigate himself. So, he quickly went in search of the truth. Suri Joe Sure, who was guarding him, stopped him. Hey, where do you think you're going? Suddenly a voice came from somewhere, surprising Suri Joe Sure. He, on the other hand, found it annoying. Ahaha, I didn't expect the Joe Sure kids to actually be useful to me. Pushing aside the bushes, he slowly emerged. Pointing directly at the two, he said loudly, see, I told you the Joe Sures knew how to pass the trial. This is the Cardinal of Faith, one of the 5 virtues, the third son of the Duke Spencer Zest family. The young man confidently stepped forward, full of himself, grinning widely. Thanks for defeating the gatekeeper for us. Now, get out of the way. We'll enter the second vault first. You have no idea how much trouble we had because of that little brat, right? If you go in first, you'll trigger the trap. They slowly approached, Suri Joe Sure looking anxious. He, however, didn't care, only thinking, there are still so many survivors. Time to fight. He pointed directly at Suri Joe Sure and kept blaming him. I can't believe the Joe Sure brats would do something so despicable. Suri, you're colluding with him, aren't you? You're even. He stammered, not understanding why he was suddenly being paired with him. He, on the other hand, was chuckling at the amusing scene. Seo Izeo suddenly knelt down, pleading his innocence. No, it wasn't us. It had nothing to do with us. I told you it wasn't us. Are you even listening? Now let's fight. He knelt down, looking at the young man with arrogance, and then spoke loudly. Did you all see this kid dodging all those traps? Do you really think he could do that alone? Watch me expose the truth. What kind of circus are these people putting on? The boy quickly realized the precious item on his neck was the ring, and exclaimed, see? This is a treasure. Without a word, the boy snatched the ring. He was completely taken aback. There's definitely something special about this ring. Everyone look. Thanks to this, we'll overcome all the traps ahead. While the boy was boasting about the ring's uses, someone else suddenly appeared. Seo Isul, at this moment, could only stand by helplessly. He had completely misunderstood. The guy fiddled with his hands and pondered. He's just sitting there silently, making me so worried. He's not the type to let someone steal his belongings. Achieve what he wanted. Right now, Sabbath was leading the group, shooing them along. Get back, you brats! Thinking about the future prospects, the kid became even more excited and thrilled. I will be the one to bring back the remains of the Skull Demon King. Something that no one has ever done. I and no one else will do it. The third son of the Cardinal Duchy. Right now, the battle begins. He was shouting his name triumphantly when he suddenly stepped on a trap. Before he could understand what was happening, a bright red light appeared. Then, with a boom, he vanished. But before they could celebrate, to their astonishment, the other children screamed in panic. Trap! What is that? Suri Chajul anxiously looked at Isaac, thinking to herself, did he use them as bait? He smirked as he witnessed someone vanish into smoke. Inside, a scene of devastation, smoke, and fire everywhere. Suri Chajul struggled to carry Isaac on her back. Around them, many children fell victim to the traps in the second storage area. Isaac looked at Nir Kabeth lying motionless, his heart filled with gratitude, but mixed with contempt. All the minds here had been cleared thanks to these kids. But now, one question lingered in his mind. Why were those kids following him? Annoyed, he grabbed Suri Jojer's hair, because the 3 of them kept tagging along. The kids looked at him with admiration, excitedly whispering to each other. That child must have some kind of divine intuition. It's probably because she comes from the Holy Woman's family. They've been acting so strangely. That ring is probably just an antique. Yes, their family is truly despicable. How could they do something so inhumane? Hearing their whispers and gossip, I was speechless with rage, whispering and giggling to try to calm my anger. It seems they've understood the greatness of their master. How impressive. I was fuming inside. I don't need their recognition. Seo Jisoo, with her experience, simply smiled and offered silent advice. Run, before it's too late. These kids are even scarier than demons. Suddenly, someone stepped forward and stated firmly, with tears in their eyes, to Seo Jisoo, if there truly is a saint, I think it's you. He was clutching his head, but he looked up and asked, "Huh?" That person then cheerfully introduced himself. "It's a pleasure to meet you, the youngest of Co Jisoo. I am Paris Julius, the second prince of the Julius Kingdom." Hearing that illustrious name, they started buzzing amongst themselves. That kingdom is located east of the Holy Heelan Empire. Rumor has it that the prince received a divine blessing, but he wasn't interested in qualities. He was only focused on benefits, so he immediately realized, "Oh, this guy might be useful." At this moment, Sully Geosio spoke up, causing Isaac to ask curiously, "Huh?" Legs trembling, he managed to stand firm and announced, "We've arrived. This is the third storage area. Shrouded in an eerie darkness, only two orbs emit a faint light. From within, they suddenly transform, radiating a strange energy. Welcome, candidates." From inside, statues gradually appear, announcing, "This is the floor of memories." They appear with wings, soaring through the air. "Show us your courage and unwavering will." The other kids were overjoyed, because they finally reached their desired destination. "We can easily proceed to the next storage area. If we follow Nizer instead of that thing, we will seize the remains of the Skull Demon King." Suri Chozor still wore a worried expression, looking up at the statues. Suddenly the statue issued the challenge command. "It's very simple. Defeat us and claim your glory." Those words sent the kids into a frenzy. They wanted to show off their power and prove themselves. They said they had to show courage, so we have to fight them, right? Let's see. As for him, seeing all this made him suspicious. It felt familiar. That gatekeeper, could it be? After a moment of thought, he suddenly remembered, exclaiming, "Ah, that's right." Then he suddenly burst into laughter. "This is going to be very interesting." And so, he started wriggling on their backs, confusing the kids. Otherwise, they would have to exclaim, "Isaac." Suryun looked ahead again, recalling everything. Isaac's decisions were always correct. Those guards were lying. The first warehouse was about choice. Isaac quickly passed through it, leaving the elder running behind, panting and still unable to catch up. The second warehouse was about composure. Isaac didn't keep his composure at all, but immediately unleashed his electric shock without a word. And the third trial is about memory. That's the key hint. We have to remember what happened in the previous two trials. Each statue is holding a weapon, waiting for the opportunity to attack. Seeing this, Surya confidently declared, "We must not attack them." In contrast to Surya's answer, Kim Dokja waved his hand and told the children, "Everyone fall back." This confused the children, who asked again to be sure. That sigh, making Seori and Josu wonder, That's strange. He chose the correct answer this time. So the boy reconsidered. No matter how evil he is, he's still a descendant of the Saintus. Could it be that the Saintus's kindness has awakened within him? That's right. Maybe I've misunderstood him all this time. Isaac clenched his fist, nodding in agreement with his own thoughts. Unaware, Dokja was secretly gathering power in his hand, smirking, ready to unleash the attack. He will sacrifice himself to guide everyone on the right path. But before he could fully think it through, the statues started crumbling after being hit by Kim's attack. Isaac, after launching his attack, kept grinning endlessly. Seori, seeing this, felt incredibly irritated. From the statue's mouth, black smoke billowed furiously. It gripped its weapon tightly. "You have chosen wrongly." And so, the statue prepared to unleash a deadly slash. A sweeping, earth-shattering strike caused the children to look up in astonishment. Then suddenly, an explosion erupted, flinging the two children away, making them cry out in pain. "Help! Mommy!" The agonizing screams left Seori and Jojuri speechless as they witnessed the scene, even as continuous explosions occurred. "What's going on?" This way of solving the situation seemed strangely familiar. He looked up and saw him smirking menacingly. Witnessing the statue brutally beating the chicken left Seori and Jojuri astonished. "You psycho." He watched with amusement, a gleeful expression on his face. "I love watching this kind of thing. It's been a while since I've seen this." Another statue appeared. The two statues joined forces to drive them away. It's so naive to trust others so easily. Those candidates for sainthood, these soulless statues, they're just deceitful puppets, born from the magic of the 14 spirit beasts. He pointed at the children, grabbed Co Isu by the hair, and laughed loudly. "Dai show these brats just how cruel life can be." Co Isu could only remain silent.